Hey guys, good morning everybody. I'm just posting my little comment and I never know what to pin. So how's everybody doing? Hello. I know the lighting is not the best in here right now, but you know what? This is probably my last time doing the show in this space here, and then I'll be moving off into my office and actually creating an actual space for it. I just keep moving around and hopping around trying to find the right spot to do this. So hello everybody, good morning. Hopefully everybody's doing well. Hello there. Hey Bellamuka, how's it going? Hi everybody, come on in. I have a little setup in front of me here and we'll show you guys that in a little bit. That is with a lot of wholesale stuff that we have started out on our website. So guys, if you want to shop wholesale, because I know a lot of you guys that are watching my lives on Monday are here because you create your own jewelry or you are reselling crystals or beads or both. So we have a new wholesale collection, which is awesome. So we have a website for that. We have our fantastic new sales rep. Her name is Brittany. She's going to be able to help you guys out with things. I'm super excited that Brittany is now part of our team. So she just started with us last week. So you guys can help, you guys can definitely take a look at the website. If you need help with anything, she'll be there through DMs as well. That will just be for Morocco, which I should write that down so you guys can actually see that. It's just more.rock.co. Yeah, see this is horrible when you're, I think I'll just have to write it down for you guys. But yeah, Morocco is where we have our wholesale collection there. And you guys can go over and shop that way. Hello. Hey, Ambrox. How's it going? Good morning, guys. And then, yeah, I have a little hit list of things we can go over today. I went to a craft show this weekend. My mom was at a community center on the weekend. She did pretty darn good for herself, so I was really happy for her. It was super busy. It usually isn't that busy, so I'm wondering if, since people haven't really went to craft shows too much in the past 2 years, I wonder if that means it'll be like a surge of a lot of people wanting to go to shows again and get out of the house and, kind of check out new things. So I hope so. That was great. But yeah, I had a couple of notes from that. I was walking around. I was like, okay, I'm going to make a mental list so that we can talk about it today, because there's a couple of things that I noticed that I was like, that's exactly what I was talking about. So yeah, we can go through that. I have my little hit list here. I don't have as much things on my list today because, again, I wanted to show you guys some wholesale stuff. And if you guys have any questions about things, then definitely let me know. I wanted that two little strings. What am I looking? Oh, it's the strings from here. When you're just like, hopefully that's not a spider. Let's not start the day off with a spider. It's not, it's a string. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, anything to do with business, running a business, opening a business stuff, then let me know and hopefully I can help you out with it. I wrote down for today, picking the right shows, because I know you guys had questions about that. If you guys are wanting to sell at different shows, how do you do that? I just wrote down insurance because we had briefly talked about it before. If anybody had any questions about insurance, I am not an expert, so I don't have much I can really tell you about it, but maybe just some basics. Advertising, I want to talk about advertising. Oh, and a couple of things about stock, because that is always the hardest thing, to buy the right items and to sell the right items, because we will forever have that problem. That is all store owners' problems, is making sure that you have the right item in stock all the time, whether it's the right size of shoe or right size of shirt or the right color of lipstick or the right stone or bracelet. There's always the one thing that you wish you had a million in stock of, and then the other things that you're like, oh, I regret making this item because it just doesn't sell. So I don't like the eight-legged freaks either. Yeah, Tic Tac Nanny, I'm not a spider friend, so I'm glad that was just a little thread up there. So yeah, we can talk about that, because that would be something I think I'm pretty good at, I would say. Since I started a business, I don't even know how old I was. I think I was 8. And that might sound kind of silly, but I actually started a business when I was 8. And by the time I was like 9 or 10, I started selling at craft shows myself. So my mom would come and help me out and set up my booth, but I did everything else. So I did all of the pricing of products and making all of the stuff and selling all the stuff and whatever. And I think that I've had a lot of years of experience in trying to figure out how to sell the stock that you have, because I think that that's a really important key to success, is to not continue to spend money and then continue to hoard stock that you're just sitting on, because I know that that's definitely the trickiest thing for most people, is, again, you buy a rainbow of different products and then these 2 items sell, these 5 items sit, and how do you sell those 5 items? Because if you keep buying those amount of items and you keep putting aside all of those items that just don't sell, all of a sudden you have a hoard of products that are just not selling for you and you're sitting on all of the cash. So that's something I'd love to talk to you guys about, because I find that a good fun challenge. So that's one thing. So back in the day when I started up in selling anything, I would say, I was a polymer clay artist. So I made things out of clay. Polymer clay, if anyone's heard of Sculpey or Fimo, it's a colored clay, so it comes already colored, and then I would mix it together and create figurines and stuff. This is also going back a couple years ago. So this is back when, knickknacks were more normal. I guess everybody used to have like a counter at home or a display at home where you put all your knickknacks, and people used to buy a lot more stuff. And I think shopping has changed in that many years, and how people buy things has changed. How people shop has changed. People don't go to craft shows as much as they shop online. So it's been really interesting to see the progression of everything. But I still think I have some tips in there that would be helpful. So where do you guys want to start? Should we talk about picking the right shows? Should we talk about advertising? Should we talk about how to make more money from your stock? Like, what should we talk about, guys? I don't know. What do you guys want to talk about? And also, I was just saying before too, I have a little display here set out on the table that we'll look at after. Woo, let's not make us all dizzy here. And that would be for wholesale stuff. So guys, we do have our wholesale collection up, and I'm going to say that probably a couple more times because I know people are kind of going in and out all the time. So we have our wholesale collection up. We have a different website for that. We have a different Instagram for that. We're going to have live sales on there. So if anybody is interested in shopping our wholesale collection because you guys have a business, then definitely you can check out Morocco. So more.rock.co, Morocco. And Brittany's our sales rep over on that side, and she'll be able to help you guys out. And we'll be able to do some shows probably starting this week, I'm thinking. The only difference though, guys, is since it's wholesale, keep in mind there's a $200 minimum order. So that's the only difference. It doesn't have to be purchased all in one show, but that's the purchase order within like a 7-day period. So just received your email, and I'm so excited. Dragon Blaze, hi. Ooh, that's a great name, Dragon Blaze. Oh my God, that's great. So where should we start talking about? You know what, I'll just start from the top then, and you guys let me know what you want to talk about. And if anybody has any questions, or you guys have your own question about like anything related to business, then just let me know. We're just here to hang out and chat, and hopefully I can help you guys out. I know this is a different way of doing it. I usually have this kind of written out in front of me, but you know what? I didn't have as many things written down today, so I figured we can do a little bit of chatting this way, and then if you guys want to flip around the camera or anything, we can. Hey there, Shay Crystals. How's it going, everybody? Good morning, good morning. Picking the right shows. So I went to a show this weekend, and it was at Bright Up Center, if anybody knows where that is. We're in Kitchener-Waterloo here. So it was a community center show. They don't do very much advertising. We were just talking about that this morning. I think the main reason why that show has always been successful is because it's always been successful. It's been around for a very, very long time. I used to go there when I was like 10 and had a booth there. So it's always been around. So I think the people in that community are aware that it's going to be happening. So that's why a lot of people are shopping at that show. Once the link again, please. It is more.rock.co, Morocco. And I'll write that down, guys. And I do have all of my screenshots from last week's show, guys, so I will be posting that in the blog. Last week just went cuckoo bananas for timing, so we'll be able to post that all up in the blog and link that all up this week. So I didn't forget about you guys. We'll do that for all of our pricing and stuff from last week. So it was very interesting to go in and take a look. My mom had her booth there, and then funny enough, one of her coworkers, Katie, had her booth there as well, which was awesome. I know she was going to a show this weekend, but I guess I just didn't realize it was that show. So we went in, and the type of show that this is going to be crafters at any different caliber that wants to pay for a booth. A booth would be a table. So guys, if you are interested in doing shows, this is kind of probably the starting point for shows. I don't know how much the table was, but they're usually $30-ish. So 20 to 40 would be kind of the average range for pricing for looking at a show. So I'm going to say that this booth was probably about $30. So keep in mind that depending on where the show is, depending on how much advertising is going into it, depending on the cost of that booth, you'll notice that the type of clientele that are shopping at that show might be at a certain price point versus another price point. So if anybody's heard of the One of a Kind show in Toronto, your automatic thought, your perceived value for that show is thinking that there's going to be a lot more high-end pieces, things that are going to be more expensive at that show, versus having a show at a community center is going to be at a lower price point. So that means that people that are coming to that show will also have less money in their pockets because they're expecting things to be less expensive. It doesn't mean that they're cheap people. It just means that they're expecting to pay less. Again, our conversation last week of if you're buying the same necklace and it was already prepackaged and you're buying it from Value Village or you're buying it from the Bay, you're just going to have a different thought process of what should be more expensive than the other. So the great example for that, I took my daughter and I put a little Ziploc bag full of money together for her, and she had $20. And that's what I figured we would bring, because then she had, a little bit of pocket money. We can grab a couple little small things or something like that. $30 is unheard of, it seems. Yes. So Kendra, it just depends on what type of show you're going to, because you're probably used to going to shows that are more like $150, $250, something like that. That's going to be more of, again, advertised shows like a yoga show or like a spiritual show or something like that. So these shows are going to be like barely any advertising. They give you a fold-up table. That's it. There's going to be no additional lighting, no additional outlets, nothing like that. It's just going to be, here's your table, set it up. So yeah, it was interesting. I would say that what the negatives and the positives of those shows, the negatives are that it's not curated usually, meaning that it's just first come, first serve. So if there's 50 booths available at that show and it's $30 per table or per booth to have available for that show, then they'll just let whoever wants a table take a table. So for example, this show, there was a ton of people that did knitting, which is great. But the problem is, as a customer, me walking around and wanting to buy something, it is very overwhelming to see so many different things that are similar to each other, all in the same category of product. So that's one thing that I would say keep in mind if you're going to that type of a show. You might be one of 10 or one of 5 people that make bracelets. You might not, doesn't matter. It depends on the show. Actually, funny enough, I think this show, there was really only 3 jewelry people, I think, that were selling any type of jewelry. So it was actually pretty good overall. But for knitting, for some reason, was kind of the main thing. So that's one thing you want to keep in mind. The second thing you keep in mind, the positive, is, oh my gosh, it's so much more inexpensive. For $30, you can set up your whole table space. You can do whatever you want for it. Should I follow? Thank you very much, your Dragon Blaze. So follow Morocco. So the first one, so Morocco, the Morocco VIP. We're going to get rid of that channel soon, because that one you have to be approved to get into. So we're going to keep it more open. So the first one, it says Whole Rocco, but more, M-O-R-E. So More Rocco will be the channel to check out. So thank you very much for that. And yeah, it was interesting to see how many people were selling similar items, but then there's a lot of booths that were very, very different, and it was a really good show overall. I was pretty impressed with it. But that's one thing to keep in mind if you're going to a show that is at a cheaper price point. They might not be curating it, so you might be beside somebody that sells food, or that sells jewelry like you, or that sells like Mary Kay or something like that, because sometimes that happens as well. But what I loved about it was so many people shopping. There's no entry fee. So that's super, super great, because then customers can just come in and shop if they want to. There was not an ATM on site. So I definitely would say, guys, get yourself a little square reader. They're like this big. How much are they? Anybody know anymore? I can't remember. Square readers are $20 or $30, I think. Does anybody know? And it just links up into your phone, and you just download an app, you throw it onto, or you link it up to your bank account, and it's super, super simple. It is such a common thing now, which is fantastic, so that most people, when they're going to a show, know that this is a common and secure way to pay for their products. So if you guys wanted to get one of those square readers that, again, they just hook up into your phone or your iPad, that's super awesome, because then you can start taking, I think they even have debit payments now, debit payments, credit payments, and there's so many different ways that people can pay you. So that's awesome. My mom did great. She made a lot of money, which was very good, and a lot of money for her. She was really happy about it. And the reason why I think my mom did really good, my mom's products in general, we'll talk about her products. She carries a wide range of products at a cheaper price point. So the type of show that you're going to, again, where it's $30 to get into, or like for a table, the type of products that people want to be purchasing are going to be at a lower dollar value, $20 and under. So that's something to keep in mind too. If you have $50 products, you're probably not going to be the right fit for that show. It sounds super awesome, right, Kendra? Because it's super cheap, and that's great, but it might not be a successful show for you, because if you're selling products that are $60, $70, or $30 even, it might be just too high of a price point for that customer. So definitely message people ASAP early when trying to get a vendor. Oh, 100%. I notice they don't allow businesses that are selling the same category in vendor events. So Shea Crystals, you are correct for some shows. So there is totally a different list of a different caliber of types of shows. The first type of show would be a community center show or a church show where they just say, we got 20 tables, as long as you pay me your money, I don't really care what you sell. Then there is another level up from that, which you're talking about there, Shea Crystals, where they will only allow X amount of certain vendors in. Or there's a different way where they'll show you an actual table layout and you'll see the names of the vendors on the show that they've already purchased. So then me as a vendor that sells jewelry can look and say, oh, there's already 5 jewelry vendors. You know what? I don't want to be part of that. So it just totally depends on the show that you're looking at. And then when you're getting into higher end shows, like ones that are at larger convention centers, they're going to want to vet you a lot more. So you're going to have an application that you're going to put in. You're going to have a booth payment. You're going to have to pay for every single piece that goes into your booth. They might not even give you a table for free. Then that's at a different bump up and a different bump up. So there's a couple different versions of different craft shows, and 100% about being fast. So it is November, right? Yes. If you can get into a show right now, kudos to you. That's great. There might be like a couple of random openings left. But if you're trying to get into Christmas shows or summer shows, whatever it is, think, oh my goodness, like 6 months in advance. You might think that that sounds like a lot, but think of how many people are trying to get into these shows. And when you're looking at these really, really good shows where the price of the booth really balances out how much money you're making from the show, those shows sometimes are almost completely sold out by the end of the show from the year before, because sometimes the vendors will actually get a little package when they sit down at their booth and it says, do you want to sign up for next year? Check it off, pay me your money now. And sometimes when that happens, the show's already 60-70% booked for the next year. So yes, if you want to get into looking at shows, go on Facebook Marketplace, or not Facebook Marketplace, just look at Facebook, I would say in general, and start researching around, and 100% look as fast as you can for shows, because they're all going to get scooped up super, super fast, and especially the good ones. And again, what I mean by a good show is that the balance of what you're paying to get into the show is completely low compared to how much money you're making. So if the booth is $150, you're making like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 at a show. If the booth is $50, you're making $500 to $1,500 at a show. So you feel like you're really making good money for the cost that you're putting into it. For pricing, I bought a turtle carving from you guys for $20. The 3 to 5 times seems a bit steep. Opinion on pricing carvings. So carvings are the hardest thing to price, 100%. I am going to be working on getting a wholesale collection of carvings in for us next year. I finally found a couple sources that I'm very excited about, and we'll be able to get you guys really, really good pricing. Definitely send me a message or Gems and Jewels and let me see which turtle you purchase. But if you purchase it off of the Gem Boutique, that is already at retail pricing, so you might not be able to get it to be at that price point. So that could be it. So send me a photo if you want. I actually own a coffee trailer. Ooh, good. Sounds good. Alongside my mother. Awesome. We do vendor shows all the time. Yeah, there you go. Then you know. This weekend, the big complaint we heard was they put 135 vendors and 40 had knitting. Yes. So 100% they're Dragon Blaze, just like you said. Sometimes there are events like that where they're not curated properly, meaning that there's so many of the same product that customers get overwhelmed. And I was trying to be really conscious of my emotions and how I felt when I was at the show. And yes, I 100% felt that, because one, I wanted to buy my daughter something that was knitted. That was kind of like, wanted to get her some kind of doll or some kind of toy. So I was like, okay, it's probably going to be a knitted item. But then when you start looking around, oh my gosh, is it ever overwhelming, because everybody's got something. And now you have so many different items you're looking at. The show is busy. It's hard to move around, blah, blah, blah. And it's hard to kind of backtrack, so you get very, very overwhelmed. So that's something that definitely, guys, if you want to ask the show coordinators and ask more about who's turning up to this show. Do you have a list of vendors? Can I see the layout of the shows? Can I pick where my booth is? Those are all things that you can have control over depending on the show. So just keep that in mind. Is there an event just for crystals? You probably don't want an event just for crystals. And the reason I say that again is because you're going to get overwhelmed. There's only so many different types of crystals. And if everyone is going to 20, 30, 50 booths that all have crystal items, it's going to be very overwhelming. But what you want to look at is mostly Toronto. Again, I'm in Ontario, guys, if that's kind of where you're at, but look at like major cities near you, and look at shows that are good for health and wellness, yoga, crystal and healing practices, stuff like that. So things that are within our category, and those would be good to exhibit at, because then people are coming to get, I don't know, their yoga mats, their vitamins from this person, and their yoga pants from this person, and their crystals from you, and their bracelets from somebody else. So you want to try and find something that collectively makes sense for what you're selling. So that's what I would say there. Hello to everybody that's tuning in. I'm just scrolling down here. I think it's just a lot of people that are all hanging out with me now. So hi guys, how's everybody doing? Yeah, that's definitely the frustrating thing. Like 40 out of 135 that all has knitting, that's a lot. So then as a knitter, you have to find ways to stand out for starters. But then secondly, like I said, there's just going to be a point where it's just too overwhelming for the customer. So when I'm walking around and I'm looking at all of these booths, and there's a booth at this, if this is my box, this is my area that I'm going to, this is the community center. If I'm all the way down there and I've just went through this whole space and there's a cool place over here I want to go back to, I might not get back there. So I might just buy something that's closer to me because I don't want to get back over there. And that's what happens sometimes. So you really want to find ways to stand out. So how do you stand out at a show? I would say one of the things that I found the most overwhelming was just how some of the booths were laid out. So you want things that are clean and simple. So what I mean is don't put extra decorations on, don't put extra stuff on the table. Just have, if we're talking about shows, guys, and setting up for shows, just have your products on the table. Try and keep everything nice and clean. If you're gonna put tablecloths on the table, keep everything neutral. Neutral colors, easy for your eyeballs to look at. And this is something that, again, if you look at sales psychology, go on our friend Google, or go on to YouTube. YouTube's fantastic for all of this. And look up like the psychology of selling. And you just want things that are very easy on the eye. And then a second thing too, I would say is definitely organize your products in a nice, clean way so people can see it from across the room and say, oh my gosh, those are so cute. I want to go look at the cat charms, or I want to go look at the bracelets over there. So try and find ways to keep everything clean. And kind of condense your different products together. So maybe put your bracelets together on the table, your necklaces. Find ways to elevate. Try and find ways to use your vertical space, because again, most, or I would say to generalize, a lot of shows you will just have like one table. You can pay for more, but for the most part, if you just have one table, you want to think about how you can use that table to the best that you can to make the most money off of it, and that's usually to go up. So to create some displays that are not too heavy for you to carry either, because it's a pain in the butt, you just won't do it after a while, but keeping something elevated. So what I used to do for shows is whatever boxes that my stuff came in, that went under the tablecloth. So then now I would have, tiered displays like this, where I have boxes on my my table, and then I would have my tablecloth going over top of it, and it just looked like tiers. So it's something that is going to be easy for you to do, it's cheap for you to do, it's fast for you to do, it's light, which is very, very important when you're doing a lot of shows, but it just looks really, really good for people to see. What products do you think sells well? Shea crystal in what category? Let me know what category you mean. So do you mean like crystals and bracelets and stuff like that? Let me know what you mean there, because I can definitely give you a little bit more pointers. So picking the right show, expensive versus cheap. So I have done all different types of shows. So has anybody ever heard of the Creative Festival in Toronto? So that's held at the Metro Convention Center. That show is $1,500 to get into. Yes, with those many zeros. So $1,500 is just for my booth. That is a 10 by 10 foot booth. That is just the booth. And what I mean by that is there is just tablecloths. There's just curtains that are creating the different walls. And other than that, it's all on you, friend. I have to bring a carpet tape, my tables, my displays, my lighting. I gotta pay for electricity. I gotta pay. Oh my gosh, it's so much money. So for that show, and then I have to usually pay for a U-Haul or something, so some kind of truck to get me all my crap there. That show, I think I paid, and a hotel, $2,500 by the end of it. $2,500. Did I make any money? No. Oh my gosh, it was not good. I disagree with that one. That was at the Creative Festival. So the Creative Festival Toronto, I will drink that later. The show is great. Because there's a lot of people that come. They have 10,000 people that show up to the show. But there's also hundreds of booths at this show. The vendors that are coming to that show, for example, come from all over Canada. So we had people that came in from BC and brought all of their products over and all over the place. The problem is that when you're getting to such high amounts of money that you have to put out to begin with, there's a higher likelihood that it's not going to be as good as you want it to be, because you have 2 or 3 days for those shows to make your money back. And that's just such a high amount of money that you're trying to make back. So for those shows, I usually did about 5,000 or 6,000 in sales. And you're thinking, cool, that sounds awesome. I ran the booth myself, so I didn't have any other help. So I would sit there the whole day by myself, or I'd run to the bathroom. And then the second thing is that's not profit. That's what I made in sales, but that's not profit. So when you take off the $2,500 for how much it cost me to actually do that show, and you take off how much the product actually cost, am I making any actual money? Probably not. I did find too, there was another designer, they had a fabric booth. So they were selling fabric, and they had a 10 by 40 booth. That's like, oh my God, $8,000, I think, 8 or 10. Oh my God, it was a lot of money. But she said that her overall expenses, she also had employees that she had to bring down as well. Her overall expenses were $40,000, and they didn't break even. So there is a caliber of show that at some point it's just too high, and you're not going to make back your money from it. One of a kind show, I have not done that show yet, but that would be another hit or miss, depending on if you have the right product, the right price point. Like if you have to have that sweet spot of product, and be the cool thing that year, because there's so many different vendors there and booths that are all trying to grab the money at the same time. So how I feel about shows is, I would say try and find a middle. Try and find something in the middle, and I feel like they're more successful for me in my experience. So it just depends on what you guys sell and what you guys want to do. But for shows, I would say the more expensive the show does not always equate to more money. Sometimes it ends up just costing you so much that it doesn't really balance out to be anything good. I went to that show myself as a customer, but I'd love to be part of it. Yeah, so Shea Crystals, there's also at the Creative Festival, I think they have designer booths, because I think I did that one year as well, where it's just a table. It's a 5-foot table, nothing else. And I think that was $800 plus, about $1,200 to do that show. So that would be another option too. But I feel like that's something you want to kind of work your way up to. If you put all your eggs in one basket, I don't think that's the right choice. I 100% think that doing several different shows compared to putting all of your money into one show is going to be more successful, because this is just like retail. I was in retail for 10 years with my store for 10 years. If the weather is bad, if the buses or the subways or whatever, there's an accident or something happens, if there's a Blue Jays game, if there's something else going on, then maybe people won't show up to that show, and it was something that was, out of your control, but then you lost a lot of money. So I always recommend trying to sign up for a couple of shows compared to putting all of your eggs in one basket. That's what I would say for that. Sale signs. At shows like this, they will recommend / usually put in their contracts that you're not allowed to put sale signs. So Creative Festival, there was no such thing as sale signs. They would actually go around and take them down, and you could potentially be fined for having them up in the first place. They are trying to create a certain caliber of event, so you're not allowed to put sale signs that say like big sale or clearance items, or everything's on sale, because again, that's taking away from the caliber of the show that they want to achieve, and it's also going to take away from other booths, and that's actually what the event coordinators don't want. They want it to be as even as possible because they want everybody to come back. So they don't want it to be where somebody made, and this actually happened once before, where somebody's making all the money and then all these other booths do horribly, because all of those booths are all going to be very, very mad about that and talk to the event coordinator about it. But then also the next year, the event coordinator is not going to be able to book back all of those customers. So they really don't want to put too many sale signs and stuff like that up. I would say that's probably, in general, I would say even at the community center shows that I go to, I normally don't see too many like sale signs. So you can have a sign up that says like $20 items or something like that, but having something that says like big sale going on usually isn't recommended. And that's usually for just for the community of everything. I would say it's just too much. There was a show, Creative Festival, years ago, and one booth was doing this. They had I don't know what they had, but three strands for $20. I don't remember the numbers, doesn't matter. But they were gemstone strands, and it was 3 for $20. Well, we have 10 other vendors there all selling gemstone strands that are high quality or medium price point or rare stones or whatever. And this booth was just making money because everything was super, super cheap. But then everyone else got so mad about it that eventually the event coordinator had to go over and tell them to change their signage because it wasn't appropriate for what they wanted, and it was just looking more like a bargain bin kind of an event, and that's not what they wanted to achieve. So yeah, there's so many things. I could write down a list for you guys for different shows, but I would say in general, look at community centers, look at church shows, look at different convention centers around you. Definitely actually looking at convention centers and in churches and in community centers, go onto their websites and take a look, because even if it's not something for this year, you'll at least see their calendar of events, so you'll be able to see what things that they would normally offer, and then you get a good understanding of what shows that you could be interested in. But yeah, 100% I would say take a look at the shows, balance out the pricing, and just because it's more expensive doesn't mean that it's the best, and just because it's cheapest doesn't mean it's the best. There's something kind of in the middle there, and it'll depend on the show. Perceived value. So this, again, I went to a show this weekend and we're kind of going back to it. A lot of the people that were there were selling products at the right price point for the show, meaning that the people that were shopping at the show were expecting to pay $5 to $25 for an item on average. But there was this one person there, oh my gosh, she made the most beautiful horses. I almost called them nays because I have a 1.5-year-old. And she was a fabric artist, so she sewed them all together. I wish I had something to show you, but anyway, just all of the seaming and everything was so beautifully done. And the fabric she had, like, I know it was the good stuff because my mom is a fabric artist as well, and that stuff is just not cheap. So she wanted $50 per horse. And was that expensive? Yes, for the show. Was it expensive for what she worked for a piece? No, it wasn't. The price for what she was making totally made sense. It was fantastic. It was perfect for what it was, because she probably put a lot of time and energy into those two for the $50. But at the show that she was at, she's not going to have the type of customer that she wants to pay for those things at that show, because as a customer myself, I'm going to go and spend $20. So I think I spent $35 total. We ended up going to, I have to show you guys, it's so cute, but she got this really cute knitted bunny, and it was the cutest thing ever, and it was only $20, way too cheap for the artist, by the way, but it was a lovely grandma, and she was just doing some stuff in her spare time, and that was really on par with what the type of show was and what people were expecting to purchase at that show. So that's the thing, is definitely look at different shows and see if the caliber makes sense with what you're trying to sell. If you guys want more information about that, or if you ever have anything that you want more advice on, then you can always send a DM and just ask me if you have any more questions about stuff like that. For that artist, I also wanted to say, because I had a little giggle to myself, I got the beautiful bunny from her, and I asked if she had a business card or something. Again, she was an older lady, and I wanted to send her a photo, so I just wanted something from her. And she had her name and her email printed off on a piece of paper. And I just thought, yes, 100%, because sometimes, guys, when you get into running a business, and if you Google, how do I start a small business, it's going to tell you that you have to spend all this money on packaging and all this money on displays and all this money on advertising and photos and all this stuff. And I'm going to say that some of it is true, and also there's certain things that you don't have to do right away. So she printed off on her computer her business name and her email address, and that was good enough for what she needed. So I was happy with that, and I had to have a little smirk to myself because I thought that was funny. But yeah, there's a lot of ways that you could do things cheaper, and there's a lot of things that you can do the cheapest. So there's definitely a level of progression as your business grows, as you want to put more time and effort into things, more money into things. Then you can start off at printing things out on your computer. Then you can go on a VistaPrint and print things out, and then you can kind of work your way up if you really wanted to. So keep that in mind, guys. You don't have to start off all the way up here. Don't worry about that. Don't compare yourselves, because that's really doesn't matter. Miss Lori, what do you have here? I organized my first show this weekend. Yay! If you have any suggestions for the vendor coordinator, that'd be great. Oh my gosh. So many so many comments to that. We had done 1 or 2 shows, I think, at my retail store before, and it is hard to be the event coordinator. I would say the number one thing is to have contracts written down, have all of the rules and anything good and bad that you can think of that you can give to your vendors, because people need to have as much information as possible so that they know where to go, where to set up, where to take down, how long they're going to be there for the show. Are they going to get penalized if they tear down their booth ahead of time? Like, what if the show's not going well and people start taking their show down, like their booth down early? Side note, if you do that, some shows will blacklist you, meaning that you're not allowed back at that show, because again, they're trying to have a certain look to their show. And if the weather's bad and the show goes till 5 and at 2 o'clock it's just completely, silent in there and there's nobody shopping, you just have to kind of suck it up and stay. So, and then if not, then people will, maybe blacklist you from doing those shows again. Yeah, write down as much information as you can and advertise. Get all of, and this is something that you guys can do as well. If you guys are a show coordinator or you're going to a show yourself and selling stuff, advertise, friends. Let people know you're there, because here's a great example. I have cool stuff in front of me right here. It's really cool. Can you see it? No. So how do you know it exists? Period. That's it. That's it. So if you don't tell your customers that you have something, if they don't see it, they're not going to know that it's there. I know it sounds like so common sense and basic, but a lot of people just don't put those two things together and don't do more advertising. So it does not matter if you're the event coordinator or if you're going to an event and they put a lot of money into the show or not. Do your due diligence, make more money for yourself, and let people know that the show is going on. So advertise on your Instagram, advertise in your email blast, let people know on your Facebook, show people, the posters that are going around, stuff like that. So Lori, I would say if you have any advertisements and posters and information about the show, give it to the people that are doing the show, give it to the vendors. But then as a vendor, to be a good vendor, let other people know that the show is going on. Because if there's 50 vendors at a show and 50 of you all tell 2 people each, that's 100 more people that could be at that show buying products from you or somebody else that didn't already know. So I would say that's one thing. Oh, that was definitely very irritating, I would say, for myself as well, when you're kind of trying to host a show like that, is that everyone's got to do their part and try and let other people know that the show is going on, because the more is more. So the more people that know about it, the more successful the show can be. So that would be one of the big ones, I would say. So why do I always say, because I feel like I'm always bashing packaging, and I don't mean to be bashing packaging. So I wrote it down here finally, because I was like, I feel like I'm always saying it in such a negative way. What I'm trying to say is when I'm talking about packaging and not spending your money on packaging or branding or business cards as much, what I mean by that is take that money and put it into your first impressions first. The business card is something you give somebody after, or if they're not going to buy something and they just want to take a card off your table. The packaging is after That's after they purchase the product, then they get the product with the packaging. Those are after sale things. Think of the before and spend your money and your energy on the before first. You can always get cool packaging and always get cool stuff afterwards, but put your money on the first impression part first. So take your money and put it towards tablecloths that look really nice. Take your money and put it towards a sign that's going to go on the front of your table so people can find you and they can take a snap on their phone if it's too busy and they can't find a business card. That's just as easy and it's just as good. So use your money to do the first impression part of everything first so that people want to spend money with you. They want to learn more about you. They want to buy things from you. And then, yes, 100%, you can definitely put more money and more effort into branding and put more money into, packaging and stuff like that. But I will say that it makes you feel good, but it doesn't always necessarily translate into more sales. So I have went through a whole range of how to package my products when we had our retail location. So I had a retail location for 10 years, and I have done every version of getting bags and boxes professionally made for me, stamping them ourselves, lasering stickers and putting them on the bags ourselves. And it looks cool and makes you feel good because you got your little logo on the side, and that's awesome. But does it help with make more sales? Does it help with the person walking down the street see the logo and make somebody else buy it? Probably not as much as you want it to. So take the money and put it towards making those displays. Take the money and put it into advertising. That's my one thing I wanted to talk about today is advertising, because that's something that, again, I know this sounds really, really silly and basic, but if I'm talking about how cool the thing is and I'm looking at behind me here and you don't see it or you don't know it exists, well, how are you going to buy it? So it's the exact same thing with your customers. If they don't know something exists, if they don't know you sell that product, then they can't buy it from you. So spend the money on letting people know that you exist. Spend the money on letting people know about your company, your business, your Facebook, your Instagram, whatever it is, and put the money towards first impressions first. So put it towards getting people to look at your stuff and buy your stuff versus the stuff at the back, which is the packaging stuff and things like that. So try and put your money at the front and the forward part of things first. Is that making sense? Anybody give me a thumbs up so far if I'm not just chatting away and making any sense, or if you guys are enjoying what I'm talking about? Let me know. By the way, Dasani water is disgusting. I'm not a Dasani water person. No, it's not good. So yeah, let me know how everybody's doing so far and if this is making sense to everybody. Cats and crystals, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Sometimes I can't tell. I know you guys are all just listening and you guys are awesome. But sometimes I can't tell if I'm like making sense or not. So gross, agreed. Yes, with this. Yeah, it's not good. So yeah, advertising. You don't have to spend a cajillion dollars on advertising. So that's the first thing I'll say too. I'll say that for everything because I'm trying to combat when you guys go onto Google or onto YouTube and you get your fantastically entrepreneurial friends that are on there and they're like, you want to make some money today? Well, go and sell your car and put half your mortgage down and you can do it. I want to kind of balance that out because I feel like there is so much intensity with the starting of a business and how much money you put towards it. It is totally up to you. If you want it to be a small business, if you want to have some extra income, you can 100% start off with not spending a lot of money. If you want to spend more money, more is more. So that just means the more you put into things, the more results you'll have quicker usually. So that's why you would spend a little bit more money quicker. But overall, you don't have to. So advertising. One thing that I would say is a standard thing that I've started to see when you're talking about like maybe larger businesses or something, depending on goals, is about 10% of your sales go towards advertising. Now, if that's too high or too low for you, again, your choice, friends, you do what you want to do. But give yourself some kind of amount, dollar value, percentage is usually the best, to figure out how much you should be reinvesting in getting new customers and growing your business. Because again, if you are not growing, there's no such thing as really staying still. You're going to stay still or go down. The reason for that is because your customers will only need so many bracelets from you or candles from you or crystals from you. So there is going to be a point where you do need to replenish your customer base, and they'll always circle back to you maybe for those customers, but their circle back could be in 1 month, 6 months, a year, depends on what you're selling. selling. So you always want to try and have more customers and try and get more customers as much as you possibly can. So 10% of your sales, so what you're bringing in as sales, going towards advertising is a pretty good amount of money, depending on your sales. If you're thinking, oh gosh, I'm really not making a lot of money right now, that's not a lot for me, then go for it and put more money into it. There's no reason why you can't. But I would say, first off, get yourself a notebook. Oh my gosh, we are notebook people over here. And get yourself a notebook and write down every possible place that you can think of that's for free. And then you'll start kind of gearing up and figuring out those other places that you can advertise to that aren't free. The way that I think about it is try and think more urgent. So think like, if I had to have my business making money for me tomorrow, and I had no other another source of income, how the heck could I let people know about me? How can I advertise and let people know about me? So think very urgently, because if you don't, then you just kind of let a lot of ideas, I would say, slip away. So think very urgently about all of those things, and then you'll come up with all of these great ideas. So there are so many ways that you can advertise online for free. We live in such an online world, it's super awesome. But back in my day, when I started off doing everything years and years ago, we had to either advertise through doing a commercial, doing something like through like Rogers, like news or something like that, and going on and being live on camera for like 30 seconds or a minute. I have some really horrible clips I could show you guys at some point. They're really bad. Or you would have to put advertisements in newspapers, and they're flipping expensive. They're like $600 to $1,000 to put a little insert into a newspaper along with everybody else's inserts. It's so bloody expensive. So you could do that, but do I feel like it was worth it? Yeah, not really. Print stuff in general is not the bestest if you're paying a lot of money for it to begin with. So what I mean is, again, putting it into a newspaper or trying to do flyers, like you guys all get, your penny saver. I was gonna say, wow, how old am I? Everybody gets like your Walmart flyers and stuff like that in the mail, right? So you can actually call your newspaper in your location, in your area, and you can actually put things into the sales flyers there. So one thing to know is you can actually do that. So they will charge you obviously for it, but you can choose what area codes to put things in. So if you wanted to do a postal code that was a very wealthy area, or if you wanted to do a postal code that, I don't know, it was right by a school and you know that you were selling school stuff or kids stuff, you could do that. You can do flyers that are just like literally singular pages, or you can do like whole like little mini catalogs and stuff like Walmart. So just so you guys know, you guys can do that. I think the minimum at the point that I had done it was about $700, and I feel like it was 1,000 or 2,000 flyers that went out. So yes, you can do something like that if you wanted to do a print material and actually have it sent out to people and go into people's newspapers and stuff. So that is one thing you can do, just so you guys know. But if you're looking at free or cheap, go online. Go on Instagram, go on to Facebook. There are so many cajillion Facebook groups out there. I love Facebook groups, they're fantastic. So you guys can look up free and cheap groups. You can look up, stay-at-home mama groups. You can look up entrepreneur groups. You can look up, buy and sell groups. Like, there's so many different groups you can find to go and advertise your stuff. Facebook Marketplace is another one where you're not paying like a listing fee to put your products in Facebook Marketplace. So you can do that as well. And emails. Oh my gosh, emails are crazy. You can go so far with emails, it's fantastic. So I know we did a little bit of photography last week, guys. I'll be posting that up on our blog. Hopefully this week. We've just been busy with Advent land. Advents are going out. Do I want to do them ever again? No. Am I going to do them next year? Probably. But I hate them until they're done, and then I like them again. It's this weird cycle. But once Advents are done, I'll have some free time again. I'll post things up on blogs. But yeah, you guys can take great photos and post it up on emails, and email so many people at once. Emails don't go bad, so until somebody doesn't want to look at it anymore, you still can have a really, really big email base and show a lot of people a lot of cool things, which is super, super awesome. So emails are free again, and I'm saying free because sometimes there's like subscriptions and stuff, like $10 a month or something that you have to do to get certain programs. but they're as free as you can get, or you can do it off of your own email. But I think Gmail now, mainly Gmail, I don't know if Hotmail or anybody else does it, but Gmail I know has a lot of strict rules now for how to send out emails to not blast people. So you might have to sign up for something else. What else can you guys think of? Where else is a free and cheap place to do? You can print off your own flyers. So you can print them off on Vistaprint, or you can print them off on your own computer at home. And what's great about that is you can take those flyers, put them up in churches, community centers, go to your local grocery store and pin them up. You know, you can have the little things down at the bottom here that says, like, you know, the one that's like a little piece of paper, and rip it off and it has your email address on it, or your website on it. There's so many things that you can do that are free and cheap. You can 100% go around and take your flyers and put them up on mailboxes. So that's another option as well. So I would just say, if you're going to do anything like that, make it make sense for you. So if you are selling candles, I don't know why candles, but candles seem to be the thing for today. Then I probably would advertise that more towards Christmas season, and I would put those up on, you know, mailboxes and stuff at that time of year. Maybe not in the summer, because people are not going to be buying candles as much in the summer. So I would say keep that in mind when you're looking at doing advertising and stuff like that, is to really keep in mind what season you're in and what makes sense for the consumer to be looking at. But yeah, there's so many ways that you can do advertising that is free or almost free. And if you start by utilizing all of those things first, oh my gosh, it's so much. You will go so far. So I would say, if you are not doing an email blast right now, if you're not putting things up on Facebook Marketplace, if you're not checking out 1 to 3 different Facebook groups, then I would suggest to really start doing all of those things, because you can start really seeing a lot of success from that. And then again, when you start doing shows, oh my gosh, then you can start talking to a customer and saying, hey, you want to see my stuff? I don't want you to come to my house, but you can come to my show next weekend. And then you can start having that, that growth in your business. So keep that in mind, guys. You guys can definitely do that and do things for on the cheap if you really, really want to. And then more expensive ways would be putting money into Instagram ads or into Facebook ads and stuff like that. We're huge on Instagram and Facebook ads over here, because our business is run off of the Instagram over here. So that's where we spend pretty much the bulk of our money at the moment. Again, the world has changed, so I feel like putting things into print, like newspapers and stuff like that, or yellow pages. Somebody said yellow pages. I agree with that. Yellow pages. Those things are not going to be as successful anymore, but keep looking around and keep trying, because it's also going to be different depending on what business you have. So what else I want to talk about? We talked about picking the right shows a bit, so definitely go on to websites and take a look at what shows there are, look at the pricing, and definitely see if you can do things for cheap. Definitely to start, and then you can start working your way through shows. The best thing I would say about doing shows is the community that you start building and creating when you start to do shows. The community center shows that we would do, I say we because like me and my mom would kind of do things together, and you start seeing similar people, or they start talking and saying, oh, I'm at this show this weekend. Actually, I think there's an available booth left. Have you heard about this show? Have you heard about this show? And I feel like once you're in it, then you can really start learning from other vendors, and they're going to start telling you, oh my gosh, you signed up for the Sand Hills show. That was a horrible choice. That one's going to be really, really bad. Go to this show. And they'll start telling you what shows to go to, which is super, super helpful. So definitely start off with getting yourself in with all of those people. If there's Facebook groups about different crafters and stuff, go in on all of those. Still try and make your own judgment calls for things, because you still have to think about either them as the crafter, because some people are not always the nicest people, and then 2, what products are they selling, because they might just be a negative person, so maybe they just have like the wrong kind of negative answer for everything, or they also could sell a product that just doesn't sell very well, so maybe that's why they didn't have a successful show at a certain show. So take everything with a grain of salt, but it's always great to start kind of being in the know and learning from people and seeing where they're going or what the general thought about a certain show is, and then it's a really good way for you to kind of know for next year. I find that for shows, it's always for next year, and then you start to have like a good base of shows written down for yourself, and then you'll know what things you should be doing as well. TikTok, TikTok. Yes, TikTok seems to be a great platform for exposure. That's true too. As a new business, I don't have many followers. However, when I post, I get a lot of likes and people start to follow me. That is awesome, Cats and Crystals. So there is a lot of things you guys can do on TikTok as well. And again, TikTok is free, so that's great. I would definitely look at different options of how to create videos that are eye-catching for people on TikTok. I think a lot of people don't want you to just say, hi guys, here's a cool mushroom. They might want to just see more artistic pictures, more funny posts, stuff like that. So I would say take a look at how to create things on TikTok that people want to see and want to watch. But more is always more. So the more you put out, the more energy you put out into things, the more stuff you have to show, the better it's going to be for you. So you just have to put the energy into it. It might not happen the first month, might not happen the second month or the 6th month, but it will happen. So just keep putting in the energy, and that will definitely be something that will return for you. Instagram has not been too bad, but Facebook barely any likes. Yes, so our lovely little friend Mark Zuckerberg has done some very interesting things as of recently. So Facebook is just going downhill, also known as Meta. So do I recommend them? Not too much. We have found that we have started to do a little bit more posting on Facebook for us, because we found that we still have customers that are kind of lingering around and seeing our Facebook page. So we started to do that maybe 2 months ago or something, and start to post a little bit more information on there. But we don't really do too many ads or do too much energy into Facebook. It's going to be a bit of an older clientele that will be shopping and using Facebook. I am also one of those people, so I'm not judging anybody. But I'm just saying it usually is somebody that maybe is at a different age bracket than somebody that's going to be using TikTok and somebody's going to be using Instagram, to generalize. So just keep that in mind when you're advertising on different platforms. I think the music on videos helps bring them. What do you think? Yes, so the music, if it's something trending. So TikTok and all the algorithms with all this stuff, a lot of it has to do with trends, what's cool right now. So that means if you're flicking through TikTok and everybody's dancing to the same song, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, why is everybody dancing to the same song? Well, it's because it's trending right now. So use that same audio, so that same sound, and use it to try and make your crystals work, or try and do a bracelet video or something like that. And yeah, that'll be definitely helpful for you. I think TikTok and a lot of platforms will show you different themes or show you different options at first. And that's really successful. You can always use their options, and it'll help you out there. What's the best platforms, Insta or TikTok? Ooh, that's really going to depend. I'm going to go with Instagram. TikTok, we definitely do post up a fair amount. We post more like funny content. So if you guys have watched any of our videos on there, a lot of them will be similar or the same that we post on our Instagram here. The messaging platform side of it for Instagram is much better than on TikTok. So I would say, like, overall, I would be an Instagram person. I would prefer to sell things off of Instagram. But I would say if you want something to go viral, which obviously we all want something to go viral, but there's a lot higher likelihood for something to go viral on TikTok versus on Instagram, just again with kind of how things are at this current moment, but it always will change. So I would say do a little bit of both, post up on both places, and see what's good for you. You'll have different customers joining you for different reasons, I would say. Yeah, I like TikTok and Instagram so far. Yeah, I watch TikTok pretty much every night because it's fun to watch, and I just find it very interesting. So I go on it for, I don't even know what, I go on for business stuff too, and I'm on boring sides of TikTok, but whatever. But yeah, there's a lot of good things that you can see there too. But then on Instagram, I feel like that's more where a lot of people are trying to look and maybe purchase things. And I could be totally wrong, but and it also can change. So that's why it's always good to have things on as many platforms as you definitely can, because they change every 5 minutes, and you're going to hit a good customer over here and a good customer over there, and you just, have to keep on trying to put as much energy as you can into trying to find more customers. So that's always something that has to be on the top of your mind there, is to grab more customers as much as you possibly can. Making more income with stock that you have. That's one more thing, but you know what? I'm going to go blow my nose because my nose is just being all snotty right now. So give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to flip this around. You guys can look at some crystals. Hello, everybody. Where's my flip? Oh my God, you're way too close to my face. I'm so sorry. Wow, that's a great shot to be turning that around on. Okay, sorry. Try again. Wow, that was very annoying. Hi guys. You guys take a look here. I'm just gonna go blow my nose and then I'm gonna show you guys some wholesale stuff and then we'll keep on chatting because I want to talk about how you can make more income with the stock that you have, because as much as I want to take all of your money, bad joke, I want you guys to be successful and I want you guys to sell everything and make a lot of money. So yeah, I want to show you guys how we can do that. As a buyer, if you're doing a live, let me know what you mean by that, Fran. There's a delay, so maybe I didn't catch what you mean there. Okay, sit back down. Oh my gosh. Hello, everybody. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. My nose was just being annoying. So I want to just let you guys know really fast. This is just a small snippet. I was going to bring you guys upstairs, but you know, it's kind of chaotic right now, and the lighting is not the best for doing this kind of video. But buyers love the live. Yes, that's very, very true. Buyers do love the live. I'll show you a couple more things about that too. So with all of this stuff here, this is all things that we have that are part of our wholesale collection. So we have tons more. This is a small snippet, but I have bins and buckets full of cool things that are all going to be wholesale. So if you guys are looking to purchase crystals from us and purchase to resell them, then we do have some great things here at some really great prices. So you guys can come over to the dark side and come shopping with us. So this is going to be on our Instagram. So it's just more.rock.co. And if you guys go over there, it's either myself or Brittany, and we're going to be hanging out with you guys and doing some live shows and stuff over there. But you guys can also shop on our website. Woohoo! So we have our website that you guys can go and shop on. We have tons of great things. So we'll have a lot of products like this that are sold like separately on the website, or like it might be, you know, like a collection of very similar items. But the only difference though, guys, is it is wholesale, which means that there's a minimum order of $200. And that is because we are selling to people that are reselling, not just to people that want to purchase things for themselves. So that's why. So we have, again, I can get these little guys out here. These are all $5 each. We have all of our super cute little spheres here. And we have sphere stands as well. The sphere stands for these, for this size, for example, would be 60 cents each. So sorry, my nail polish again, always. Oh my gosh, I'm always embarrassed of it. But there's gorgeous ones here. We have fluorite in here, Kambaba Jasper, Unakite, Howlite, Green Aventurine, whatever that is, Snowflake Obsidian, Rose Quartz, Labradorite, so many cool things. Yeah, we have spheres, we have mini spheres, we have large spheres, we have lapis spheres, we have so many things. Yes, lapis is still expensive regardless, but it is more expensive. You guys have seen our skulls over on the Scully side of things on our shows. This guy's $55 then on the wholesale price. So you guys can go over to our website, morocco.com, and you guys can go shopping there whenever you want. Wow, maybe I should write this so you guys could read it. Morocco. Same thing, but just morocco.com. You guys can check out our website there, or you can check out our Instagram page. We are going to start to do lives probably once a week for starters, and then we'll get into more lives soon. Hey there, AJ Pat. It's good timing because you're hanging out over on our wholesale side as well. So yeah, lots of great things here, guys. We have a whole collection of moonstone items. So like this guy would be $22, for example, so you guys can mark those guys up. We have our big lepidolite or lepidolite tower. That one's $91. That one is $91. So then you can sell that guy for about $200 or so. Just depends on what you want to sell it for. You can go higher than that as well. So yeah, lots and lots of options here. Repeated myself. No, it's all good. I feel like I'm missing somebody's comment here. Doing a Christmas market in a little town in a couple of weeks, so I appreciate all the feedback. Oh, that's great. Cool. I'll be doing a debut there. Yay, that's awesome. That is great. I'm super excited for you. Hopefully it does really good. And hopefully the weather's good. It's all about the weather there, I would say. As a buyer, if you're doing a live and not explaining your product or price, I just leave your site. Yes, that is true too. Yeah, you definitely want to be able to explain things as much as you possibly can and give people a reason to shop and check things out 100%. 2.5 times feasible for Morocco wholesale. So Amp Rocks, yes, it would be. fee, so 2.5 times or higher for the crystals. So crystals are one thing that I was saying before that sometimes it's just not as easy to make as high of a markup on compared to other products. But always wiggling the prices around as much as you can is always great. So if you feel like you can boost something up by a couple more bucks, then always do that. That's always good. The beads right now, Hope, those ones are as discounted as we possibly can be at the moment. So over on, over here on the Gem Boutique, when you guys are shopping on Wednesdays, those are our discounted beads as much as possible. AJ Pat, thank you very much. Wholesale is so much fun. And yeah, indoor, yeah, definitely indoor. Everything should be indoor right now, hopefully, except for, I think, Chris Kindle Market. I think that one is outdoor too. Did that happen yet? I can't remember. Good question there. Tough as fluff. You cannot, unfortunately. So sorry, guys. This is actually just being treated pretty much as a different company. It is a different company. It is in a different part of our warehouses here. So for all of them boring logistical reasons, we can't combine orders from the Gem Boutique with the Morocco orders. So that's why the Morocco orders, they have to be minimum $200. And then you can go spend whatever you want with the Gem Boutique. You go hang out with them. That's cool. Or on this channel, I should say. But we won't be able to combine the two orders together. So keep that in mind. And also for Morocco, you guys can go on the website and shop there. Or you guys can shop on the live sales there as well. So you guys have lots and lots of options. That's terrible. I don't know. Do you guys want me to flip this back around and stare at my face? I don't know. But yeah, Morocco's awesome. So excited for you guys that you guys get to check it out. It's going to be so awesome. And you guys can go over right now, go to the website. But yeah, it's a $200 minimum order to cash out. So what I mean by that is you have 7 days. Not 7 days to start combining all of your orders. That means you can watch, a couple live videos. You can go on the website and put things in your cart from there. And then your whole order there has to be $200. And then at that point, or more if you want, and then at that point, you'll be able to check out and then we'll be able to ship your orders out. So yeah, you got lots and lots of cool things you guys can go over right now and shop on the website. So morocco.com or you'll be seeing me and Brittany later on this week then for more videos. So we'll be doing some live videos together and show you guys more of the space and stuff. We are still working on the space. I feel like every time it's upstairs, every time I go up there, I want to redo it entirely every single time. And I can't figure out what the right use of the space is. So we're still going to try and work on that because yeah, I'm not happy with it yet. It's a weird shape. So we're trying to figure out how we can make that work for us. So that's what we're going to do there. Whoa, wiggling this around. Ta-da. What else we're going to talk about? Insurance. You guys want to talk about insurance? I don't have anything to say. All I was really going to tell you guys is yes, you usually do have to get insurance for shows now, but it's, I don't know how much, $80. I think it's $80. Oh, there's two options, right? I forgot about this. It's $80 if you wanted to sign up for insurance. There's a lot of shows nowadays that will require you to have insurance on your booth. And then the second option, which I didn't know about for the longest time, the second option, guys, is you don't have to just pay the $80 for one show. There is options where you can get insurance for your shows in a 1 month or 3 month or 6 month window or something. So definitely talk to your insurance about that before you sign up, because I didn't know that. And then I remember I had to do $80 times a couple times a year, and then you find that there's a clump fee that you can spend, and then it's a lot cheaper. So definitely ask your insurance about that. But yeah, you definitely can. What website would you recommend? What platform to sell your products on? Is that what you mean, Shay? Let me know. Hey there, Brand Plant Things. How's it going? How's everybody doing? Love your site. Okay, thank you, Fran. You're awesome. I'm happy you guys are enjoying everything so far. But that would be my one thing for insurance. And then the second thing, because I know we had talked about this last show just kind of briefly, and I wanted to bring it up again. If you were doing consignment at a show, because somebody had said this and they were like, oh, I'm really offended that this store did it this way, and I wanted to just come on and say that it wasn't the store, it's the insurance. It's always the insurance people. So when you have your stuff on consignment in somebody else's store, so there's a hair salon and you have your jewelry in the hair salon, you as the jewelry designer, so you as the business owner of the consignment product, you can get insurance on your stuff. You have to look into the details of that and how that works when it's off-site, because there's different insurance that you get for things that are off-site. But you can get insurance on your stuff, but the store owner of the store cannot be insured for consignment product in their store. So unless they've purchased the product, they cannot insure the product. Catch 22. I know it's like a little secret. I don't like it. But that's something to keep in mind. So why is that a problem? It shouldn't be. It would be something that if you guys had a contract together and wrote down what's going to happen if something got stolen or damaged, what would happen in those scenarios. Other than that, it really isn't too much of a problem. Or what would happen if there was a flood, which did happen to me once, a flood or a fire, so something that was, very bad that happened, what would happen in that scenario. But if it was at a higher amount of products that was damaged, then you should be able to take your insurance out. So definitely ask a couple more insurance-y questions if you are starting to look into things like that. But yeah, you don't always need insurance, cats and crystals, but if you do, then look into it a little bit, because there's a couple more tricks that nobody likes to tell you about. And then I feel like I've just found them out over the years. So yeah, so in what websites do we recommend that you put your product on? We were talking before about like Wix and Shopify, and I think you guys were saying like Squarespace or something like that. We use Shopify here. I think I will say this again for everything technology and everything, anything that has to do with shipping or Canada Post. It is the best of the worst. I think that's how I feel about everything. So do I recommend Shopify? Yes, there's a lot of great things to it. Yes, there's a lot of glitches. So it's kind of a catch-22, but I would recommend them overall compared to other websites. But there is a lot of different options that you have. Just keep in mind that all of those options, you will have to do your own advertising for. The only site, there's a couple of sites probably, but probably smaller. The only site that has the option of advertising within their site would be Etsy. But I am not a fan of Etsy. I feel like they have a lot of fees that they never had before, and things that they have really made really, really unattainable for artists. So I'm just commenting on it because I know you guys always want to kind of hear about that, but I wouldn't recommend them anymore, which sucks because I used to love to recommend Etsy for artists that are starting off. So it sucks that I can't anymore. I was thinking of consignment in stores around town, so that's great info. Yes, that's awesome, Cats and Crystals. I totally recommend consignment. I would say, guys, if you want to do consignment, or if you want to grow your business, 100% consignment, 100%. It's a hassle at the beginning. My couple comments, hassle at the beginning. Just because you're a store owner doesn't mean you should be a store owner, coming from a store owner. So that means that sometimes store owners are not the brightest. So sometimes it's harder to work with them. So I'm just telling you guys the honest truth. But I would say overall, if you can get some stock into different stores, wow, is it ever fantastic. I know one person that might be watching or not, and they have their stuff in a store, and the store does just killer, and they make like $1,000 a month. That's fantastic. That might not be everybody's circumstance, but if you have some consignment product in 4 stores and you make $50 off of every store every single month, that's $200 that you're bringing in as extra income. So this just goes back to, again, what is your outcome? What do you want from this? Do you want this to be a business where you're sitting at home doing nothing, or do you want to be out being the face of your business and going to shows? Do you want this to be an online business? Like, what are your goals? Do you want to make $1 million? Those are all your goals. Those are all possible goals, but it just depends on how you want to work on your business. But consignment was fantastic. When I worked with a jewelry designer, we did consignment. The fantastic positives about it is that as the store owner, I don't have to fork out any money. I got so much overhead. I got employees. I have, rotting ceiling. I got, theft issues. I have bills I got to pay. Store owners have a lot of crap that they got to deal with as a retail store owner. Their bills are the highest out of anybody for bills, I would say, for types of stores. So as a retail store owner, if there's any way that you can give me product to put in my store and I don't have to pay for it, A+, usually. Some people have had bad experiences, so that's why a store owner might say no to you. But overall, it's a huge plus for both people. So I would definitely recommend talking to different stores and seeing about putting things into your store. What's great about it is you can give them product that, again, maybe they didn't have the cash flow to purchase themselves. So I know I talked about this before, guys, and I'll talk about it again. But I've had this happen almost probably to every store that I've ever dealt with, I would actually say, probably every store. Where we've brought products in, where me and my boss at the time, back when I made jewelry with a jewelry designer, different designer, we would make jewelry and we would just know that these certain pieces would sell to their customers. And we would see, you know, whatever product they had. We usually went to clothing stores. And we would know that it would sell. But the store owner didn't want to invest the money into that one product. They wanted to buy cheap and cheery things that'll all sell really fast. And then every time we'd finally convince them to put a couple of pieces in on consignment and they would sell. And it was great. I think, again, my story with the wedding store was always my favorite because I was and still will always be baffled that the manager of that store didn't want a piece of jewelry in her store over $180. But then when I asked, and this is going back years ago, so imagine how much these dresses cost now. This is in Yorkville in Toronto, so if anybody knows where that is, it's a very nice fancy place. But all the dresses were $3,000 to $4,000 each. And I went, okay, well, if somebody's going to spend $3,000 or $4,000 on their dress, they might not want just a $180 necklace. They might want something more expensive. They might want to put more drama on their neck and put their money onto their neck or their wrist or something like that. And I was right. And we sold a $600 necklace, I think, within like 4 days or a week of putting it in there. And I was like, hell yeah. So that's always why it's a really great idea to look at consignment. How do you manage pricing with consignment? So sometimes, Amp Rocks, there's going to be some products that aren't going to work for consignment, because there's just not enough wiggle room to have available there for the store owner and yourself to make money off of that piece. So just to say that right off the bat, sometimes it just happens where it just won't work for certain pieces. I don't know, comment below, guys. As anybody talking to consignment stores, I'd love to know what the numbers are these days, because I was talking to you guys last week and saying that it's anywhere from 60-40, 50-50 for how much the store owner is taking versus how much you're getting. So let's just say about 50-50. And that means that if the necklace is on sale at the store for $100, the store owner is taking $100, and the business owner that made that necklace, the consignor, is taking $50. And you might think, oh my gosh, that's steep. And all I'm going to say is, friends, do you know how much it costs to run a retail store? A shit ton of money. So that's why it might sound like it's a lot and think, oh my gosh, 50% or 40% of the cost of my product is so much money to be giving to that store owner. Yes, it is 100%, but it costs that much money to run a store. So that is the balance there. So sometimes, 60-40 over here. So Posh Jeep, who gets the 60 and who gets the 40? I'm actually curious about that. Who gets the 60 and who gets the 40 for the split there? So yeah, that would be one thing I would definitely say is that just be aware that things cost money. And so I've looked at this a million times. I was going to say, Casey can probably overhear me because I talked to him on the weekend about this. I have thought about this numerous times. It's still not the end of the thought of opening up stores where I'm helping other artists or doing consignment and stuff in other ways and blah, 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 blah. We're not going to talk about too much. But all I'm going to say is I have looked at it before, guys, and looked at taking... Casey's rolling his eyes at me. And other things. He's being rude. It's okay. It's normal. Yeah. So I have looked at the prices, and if I were to stock a store with rent and having employee costs, normal costs of running a business, like, lights on and crap, blah, 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 blah. It's literally hundreds of dollars per person if I wanted to give people a small booth within the store. It's a lot of money. It's so much money to run a store. So much money to run a store. So I get 60% as a creator. That's actually fantastic, Posh Jeep. I'm pretty impressed with that. So just keep that in mind, guys. If you are looking at stores, that's something where when you're designing the pieces that you have, try and keep in mind and factor in how can I make this piece look just as good, but then again, bring the price down. So either that means putting chain on the back of your necklace to, again, make the piece more inexpensive. Not cheap, more inexpensive. Using, I always say kunzite and rose quartz, I don't know why, but using rose quartz beads instead of kunzite beads to bring the price down. So a pink bead versus this pink bead, use a different one that's cheaper. So finding ways to put all of your money in the front. So that means put your money in the front of your bracelet or the front of your necklace. So you don't have to put all of your money on the backs that like nobody sees. So find ways that you can, you know, make your designs look just as good, but make them add a little bit more inexpensive. So there's a little bit more wiggle room in there so that you can make more money. Perceived value, if you have something in a retail store, people are always expected that they will pay more for it than if they went to a community center and bought the same bracelet, right? They just has a different appeal or a different value. They think and they also know that it costs more money to run a retail store, therefore those prices are going to be marked up a little bit higher. I'm not sick, I'm talking a lot, so I'm just like, my throat's all dry. So hopefully that helps you guys. 60% of creators, awesome. Personal relationship between myself and the store owner. That probably also helps too, Posh Jeep. Somebody else asked about that with store owner friends. Yeah, you totally can. So if you have friends, 100% ask them. That's the whole point of all this. So going back to the whole advertising success, we're going to write that one down, and I'll write that down somewhere else. Ask your friends, ask your friends, ask your friends, ask your family. You do not have to bombard them. So don't turn into, I was going to say an MLM person, so sorry. You know what I mean? Don't just randomly message somebody that you haven't talked to in 10 years. That's what I was trying to say. That came across better than I wanted to. But don't bombard people that you maybe don't talk to anymore. But if you do have friends that have stores, yes, 100% approach them. But I would say approach them in a business-like way. If you want to be taken seriously, then make sure that you take yourself seriously. If you want them to take you seriously, take yourself seriously. So don't just text them and say, yo, you want to put my stuff in your store? Or bring a couple of things over and say, these would sell here, don't you think? And kind of push it on them. I wouldn't do it that way. I would message them or send them an email, even if they're a close friend, because you want to give them a little bit of breathing space. You want to give them time to kind of look at it, and come up with their own conclusion and see, oh, okay, this isn't going to be a problem. Because a lot of store owners know that things that are working with friends get a little sticky sometimes, because expectations both ways are usually skewed. So if you can come across as professional and show them why it would make sense for them to carry your stock, then yeah, 100% ask your friends. That would be the best way to do it. But just don't ask. You can definitely ask to their face. That's totally fine too. But what I mean is just don't pressure them or have it in a setting like when you're all sitting around at, family dinner or something like that. Like have it maybe off to the side. Again, if you're talking about like writing down an email for them, like, hey there, Betsy Sue, how's your day going? I don't know where Betsy Sue is coming from, but I've thought about my product in your store. We'll talk about necklaces versus clothing store. Your clothing is gorgeous. I think the price point of my jewelry would really balance out well with your clothing. I just made this whole purple collection and I think it would look so good with the purple pieces that you have in your store right now. I can definitely make pieces also that would fit better with your vibe if you wanted to do that. That's, you don't have to do that, but that's, you can if you want to have that as an option. This is, normally the consignment split that I normally do. I'm not sure if you're willing to do that or if that'd be something you're interested in. I would love to talk to you about, following this further and, talking about putting my stuff in your store in consignment. We could try it out on in a monthly basis. We could do it for 2 or 3 months. And we can write down a contract so that we both feel pretty square about this. So let me know what you think. I'd love to bring some pieces in. And again, let me know how we can make this as smooth as possible for you. Store owners are super flippin' busy and they get asked this question about a gajillion times. At the store, when I had a retail store, every week got asked 1 to 3 times if I would give something away for donation. And to random people that I've never met before. They'd walk off the street and say, hey, I have a stag and doe. Will you give me something for free? Hey, I have a community center event. Can you give me something for, so much. And then like I was saying before about people that would come into my store and learn how to make jewelry from me. And within 3 hours, they would ask me if I could sell their stuff in the store that they haven't even made yet. Very interesting. So just keep it professional, keep it calm, and then let them kind of come up with a conclusion. If they say no, don't listen, and ask one more time. So I would say sometimes they say no because it's just maybe an easier option, or they're overwhelmed right then. So I would say, okay, cool, we could definitely circle back to this if you want to. But again, I just want to show you this. I was wearing your shirt the other day. This is when you can do a little bit of a white lie. I was wearing your shirt the other day and I put on the necklace and it just looks so good together. I wonder if we could even bring in 5 products and just try and get your foot in the door. That would definitely be something I would say. My boss that I used to work for, I always will call her my boss, but my ex-boss that I used to work for, I guess 13 years ago now, my God. She was aggressive. She was fantastic. Eccentric, Texan, very aggressive. Got everything she wanted. It worked out great. So definitely you can ask more than once. You can talk a bit more. But I would say that the one thing that her downfall was also how aggressive she was. So try and find that even balance there where, again, I'm saying, ask your friend maybe when it's not the most... where they don't feel so much pressure. So again, in like a dinner setting or something like that, ask them through email, maybe send them a couple of photos, explain why you really think it's a good idea, and make sure it is a good idea. So if they sell pet supplies and you want to put your bracelets in there that have nothing to do with pets, they got no animals on them or something like that, or they're just a $400 necklace, that's not going to be the right choice, friends. That's not going to work for either of you. So you really want to make sure that it's going to work for both parties, and then tell them why you really think it's going to work, because when they start hearing your passion and you start explaining to them, again, just because they own a store doesn't always mean that they can they're the most visual people or that they really are the right person to be owning that store. So we found that so many times that we would have to explain in very basic detail why we thought something would really work together. And then finally we would convince a store owner, and then we would get their stuff in the store and we'd bang, and we'd make so much money. It was fantastic. So I would definitely say ask your friends, ask people around that ask your friend of a friend's. But just when you're getting into the friend of a friend's and stuff like that, again, just be respectful and treat it as a business both sides. So treat them as a business owner, treat you as a business owner. Don't talk about your dog, don't talk about your kids, don't talk about other stuff when you're doing this email. Just keep it more business appropriate, and that's better. And throw photos in. My goodness, don't put links. I don't got time for that. I have so many other things I got to do. I got so many bills I got to pay. I don't have time to open up your link. Respectfully, I don't. And that's how a lot of store owners are going to think as well. So put some photos in the bottom of your email so that I as a store owner, or the store owner, can scroll through super quickly and decide if this is the right choice. And then let them know, I'll follow up with you in a couple of days. And then do it in a couple of days, not 1 day, not 2 days. Think like 3, 4, 5 days. Give them some time to look at something and then follow up. And then that always has worked out really well. Contracts, how much detail? As much damn detail as you can put in, because there's always going to be a scenario where you never thought of it, and that's the scenario that happens every time. Do you usually write one yourself, or is there a lawyer? You don't need a lawyer, really. I'm really way too close to this. Okay, my glasses look nice though. All right. You don't need a lawyer to do up the different contracts, but I would definitely say look at some other websites. So go on to, if there's a certain person that you like for jewelry, go onto their website, look under their policies. Go on to H&M, look at their policies. Go look at a couple of policies of some consignment stores that you've heard of or something. It gives you a better understanding of maybe what things you should touch on. And then I did write it down, and I'll put that in the blog, guys, because I have that written down on my other sheet from last week of some different questions that you should kind of put on your contract, because it'd be helpful things to have on there. And yeah, definitely think about, like, if something was damaged, who's paying for it? Something was stolen, who's paying for it? How often are you going to get paid? What happens, Casey, if you don't get paid for 3 months? What are you going to do? Sorry, I meant to poke Casey there. Bad scenario. We have both had those situations happen before where you don't get paid for months and months and months from the store owner. What do you do? So write all of those things down of how you'd handle those situations, or what you think you would do in those situations, both sides. And that would be helpful for both of you to sort out. So that's what I would say for that. I have my diffuser bracelets in a health food store. Yes, 100%. That is fantastic. Health food store, see, you got it. That's so smart. So if you have, bracelets that you are going to use for essential oils, and that store sells essential oils, that's the right place to put your stuff in. So that's great. But then as the vendor, vouch for yourself, or vet for yourself, or however you want to say that, and tell the store owner, I want my bracelets should go by the essential oils so that people can see the connection. But if the essential oils are all the way down that aisle and your bracelets are all over there, the customer's not going to make the connection that the two should be bought together. So try and push for things to make sense for the consumer. Just think that the consumer they want things to be as easy as possible for them, because if not, they'll just move on to something else. So yeah, that's a great idea. If you make, I don't know, shoe charms, then go to a shoe store. Actually, one of our most successful stores was a shoe store, and they had medium price point shoes. I would say $100 to $200 were probably their price point of shoes. And we had a really successful run with them, I would say. Their store owner was aggressive, so she wasn't the best person to really do business with long term, but it was a really good run when it was there. And yeah, we sold a lot of jewelry there. I would say like a couple $100 every month. Good. So that was really worth it. When I make jewelry, and when I made jewelry for another person, I made a lot of one-of-a-kind things. I love being creative and trying out different collections of things. You don't have to be the same way, but I find that for all of the reasons, like getting in stock and the enjoyment of making the pieces yourselves, pricing things out, it's fun and sometimes better, I would say, in the long run to make more unique pieces. If you're trying to replicate pieces over and over again, you might start running into stock issues. Maybe nobody really likes that piece anymore. Maybe it needs to be edited. So I would definitely say, if you're looking at, choosing one of a kind versus making things over and over again, try and do a little bit of both. But one of a kind, I feel like it just really works out better. You have a lot more control over what you want to make and changing it. Like right now, we got fantastic colors. Emerald green is in this year. I'm so excited. Emerald green is such a good fall color. It's so rich. It's such a beautiful color. And you can make such beautiful collections to go around what makes sense for right now, versus pastels are always what people are loving more towards summer season. So changing things up depending on the seasons is always good as well. What other questions do you guys have? You guys want to do consignment stores? I love that. So same thing like I was saying with advertising, is sit down with yourself and your notebook and your pen, and with urgency, sit down and think to yourself, if I did not have any income coming in tomorrow, if I did not have my other, revenue coming in to me, and I just had to do my business, how many things can I think of? How many ways can I advertise for free? How many different stores can I write down and stretch that list out? You want to know why? Because if you write down 20 different stores and you only look at 10 of them, that's so many more stores. It's fantastic. But also because when you're starting to write down ideas, you're going to come up with better ideas. We always talk about that here. If you have the starting of an idea, if it's a half an idea, if it's not even an idea and it's just a comment, like, I don't know, I hate when all of the towers are tilty all the time. It really is annoying. Say something like that out loud, and then it's going to start coming up. You're going to start thinking about other ways to help you and to find the right answer. So start writing down what types of stores maybe that you think would make sense for your stuff. So as I have a bracelet for that was saying, if you have, diffuser bracelet jewelry, so you have things that have lava beads on it for essential oils, yes, think about all different types of health stores that you could talk to. Think of yoga stores that you could talk to, anybody that sells meditation stuff, anybody that sells like holistic things, like those would be great things to people to talk to, and really start writing down a nice long list. If you do like puppy dogs and kitties and you make beautiful jewelry and has little charms on it, then definitely think about asking, the owner of the pet store down the street and see if people want to buy, jewelry. I wouldn't say for animals, just for humans, but yeah, I would definitely look at looking into that as well. So your energy and enthusiasm inspiring. Thank you. I appreciate that sometimes. So yeah, I would definitely say write down and exhaust all of the possibilities, and it will make you feel so satisfied when you start looking at how long your list is. And I think also when you're having those overwhelmed days where like, I can't do this, or I have nowhere to sell my stuff to, or I don't know what to do next, writing down these lists is just going to be so helpful for you, because you can look and say, wow, look at all of the opportunities and options I have. If you guys want to go through maybe a different show, I'll write that down. How to write an email. Do you guys want to do that? How to write an email like to a store. Gosh, now I have to actually think really hard. Do I regret saying that out loud? Yes, I do. How to write an email to a store, how to talk about consignment. Maybe we should do like a whole thing on consignment if you guys want to. I know we talked about it again, like kind of last week and a little bit this week, but like raise your hand. You guys want to know more about consignment stores and how to like approach store owners and stuff like that. Then we can definitely talk about that. And yeah, flashback. So we had this one store owner and we talked to them all the time about how we can make custom stuff. So he had a vintage dress shop, as well as they started to do some designs up because they sold to a lot of bridal parties. So they had a couple of different vintage designs that people can come in and purchase and get it like made, custom made for them of like the certain color and stuff for their bridal party. And I think his name was Tao. Oh, Tao. Sorry. Flashback. And he was really great. He had a great store, great stuff, but he got the business from his father, and he did not have the same love and passion, I think, that maybe his father did. He was somebody that argued over this one $700 necklace. I have two stories with him. The $700 necklace, which just drove me bonkers, which was very on par with his store. So I know that sounds expensive, but it made sense with the store. And another one was after working with him for probably about a year and a half. This is now my little rant. After working with him for probably about a year and a half or 2 years almost. And he got another artist in at the same time. They made just very simple earrings and stuff. And we just were like, dude, we could make that for you. We can make anything. So why would you have went to that other artist? And it could be for a million reasons. I think, again, ease. Ease is always going to be the main reason. So the artist probably came in, showed him his stuff. He said, that looks cool. I got no loyalties. So I'll, have that stuff in my store as well. And it just really irked us. So that would be one thing I would say. Do you save these? Sierra, I hope so. I will try to save this video for you guys. And then again, I have all my like hit list on the side here. I'll write this all in a blog for you guys. So you guys can definitely go back. But yeah, we were so offended by that. So one thing 100% you can write down, will the store owner want to? That's a different option. That's a different conversation. But what we would write down a lot of the times is that you are not allowed to sell consignment jewelry here at your store if we have our stuff here, because we're giving you as a store owner $2,000 to $3,000. You don't have to do this, you can do whatever you want, but we did. Me and my boss used to work for it. We would make $2,000 to $3,000 worth of jewelry for that store on consignment at once. So the thought of having somebody else in the store selling their stuff and taking away money from us when we were giving it to you for free, oh, it was a piss off. That was not good. So we always would try and either write down a contract. My boss was not very good at contracts, so I would definitely say, guys, put a contract down. Just makes life so much easier, and you just don't have to worry about it because it's just written down. So it's so much. If you're a passive person, I am passive. If you're a passive aggressive person and you don't want to be somebody that's at forward and you don't want to make anything into a big deal or make anything too stressful, having things written down at first, having it written down in the contract, it makes it easier because then you guys both know where you stand. So yeah, you can still argue it, but you signed it. So it's so much easier if you guys have things written down first. Because then you don't have to sit there and say, well, who really, who's going to be ethical on this? Who's going to have the right morals in this situation and, give me my money back or not? So it's always better to just have things written down, and then you both just kind of know black and white who owes what and all that fun stuff. So in that circumstance, we did start telling and writing down to other store owners that you're not going to put other people's stuff in if we're going to have our stuff in at that caliber. Will that work for you? Yes or no? Depends on the store, depends on their vibe, depends on how much stock you're bringing in, all that stuff. Thank you. I love these two. They're from Insight Eye Care, and they have 40 different colors. I have 2 other colors because my eyeballs are very grumpy, and if I try to have different frames all the time, my eyes can't focus properly. So I found a pair that I liked overall, and then I'll just get them in different colors because I like color. But then I don't have to worry about my eyes adjusting all the time. So that's my side note. So the $700 necklace, oh my God, I still remember this necklace. It was made out of these pieces. They're from a company in Rhode Island called Hoard Crystal. Long story short, I actually went to Rhode Island with my boss I used to work for. We went there to go see the owners of Swarovski Crystal because we were talking to them about an ambassador program. We went to Hoard Crystal. We got to see that. It was really cool. President Obama at the time was making a collection of coins. How did this work? He had $1 million worth of coins at this one electroplating facility that we went to, and the store owner was telling us about this, and that he actually slept in his warehouse for 2 nights in a row because he was so stressed out because they had so much money in their warehouse. That's the side note. So anyway, this beautiful necklace, $700 necklace, was made out of all of these beautiful crystal flowers. They were all Swarovski crystal flowers, and the crystals were made into, the crystal petals were made into flowers, and that company's called Hoard Crystal. They have been around for 1 million years. Are they still around? I don't know. I'm going to write that down because now I want to Google them because he used to use their stuff all the time. So I made this beautiful necklace. It was $700. So the split at that store, that consignment store, was half. So that means that we would make $350 and they would make $350. Well, this store owner could not grasp that we wanted $350 for the necklace. So you could sell it for whatever you wanted it to. He was arguing that he didn't think that $700 was going to sell for that necklace. I think he wanted it to be, I don't remember how much less, but I'm going to call it $600 just for fun. But he was just saying the necklace isn't going to sell for $700. I think it's going to sell for $600. And we had said, cool, go for it. Put whatever price tag on it that you want. They're all one-of-a-kind pieces, and they're not advertised anywhere else, so we could choose to change the prices if we wanted to. So if you wanted to do that, all we were saying is that we want $350 for our necklace. So you could then just deduct that $100 off of your amount and just make less. That's it. And it was a debacle. It was so dramatic. He could not understand, and this is a store owner, and he could not understand that he could just drop the price of the necklace himself and just make less off of a piece that's on consignment. He didn't fork out any money for it. I just remember that because it was like over 2 days and like 2 or 3 hours of phone conversations to try and explain to him that he could just lower the price if he wanted to. We need our money out of it because that's how much we needed for the necklace. But you do you, and you sell it for whatever you want. So that's just going back to when I'm smiling and smirking at you guys and saying that store owners don't always know best. That's what I mean by that. So if you ever are sitting there saying like, oh, well, the store owner said this, therefore that's how we have to do it. No, not always. Not everybody has common sense. So if you find that there's a different way to do something or a better way to do something, or you really want to stick to your guns about how to approach a certain situation or how to display your stock or what you want in the store, whatever the scenario is, just know that you have the same amount of rights and gut reaction that store owner does. So if you have a different way of doing something, then bring it up. And sometimes you just aren't going to come to the same agreement, and that's cool. What happened with the necklace? I don't remember. I want to say it sold. I'll have to think about that because I actually don't remember if what happened with that necklace. I think he ended up putting it aside, and then I can't remember what happened with it, or if we sold it later on or something like that. I don't know, but it was a very interesting story. Anybody else amused by that story? I have lots of stories. What else do you guys want to talk about? What other things? Making more income from stock. That's one thing I wanted to talk to you guys about. So let me know if anybody's here that wants to hear more about that. Because that's one thing that I would say I totally excelled at, because I have done that forever, because I started off running businesses when I was really young, like 8 years old. So when I started to get into jewelry, I was probably 13, 14. I didn't have any money. So you have to find a million ways to use the stock you have in different ways so that you can make as much money as you possibly can, because you just don't have that extra cash to, you know, throw around and to buy all these other things. So yeah, always thinking of new ways to sell the same product is always something that I think I'm really, really good at, because it's something I've always had to do, because I never had the money when I was starting off my businesses, period, whatever age, to just throw around money all the time for nothing. So I had to find ways to use the stuff that I had. The Insta blurb for this segment mentioned setting up wholesale for your own business. It's imagining stuff about sourcing products, imports. Is that on the table for today? So we were talking about wholesale because I'll flip you guys around. Near. I always have a really horrible face whenever I flip around. We have our own Morocco website or Instagram. So Morocco or Morocco.com. It is a $200 minimum, but you guys can start purchasing wholesale from us. So that means that we have a beautiful collection of lots of things. This is a very, very, very small snippet. I got bins and bins full of gorgeous things upstairs that I'll definitely have to take a photo and show you guys. But if you guys go over to Morocco and go like that Instagram page here, then you guys can definitely check out more information about Morocco, and you guys can go over to the website right now and you can definitely go and shop. So everything there is going to be at wholesale pricing, which means that you guys can then go and sell it for your retail price and make your profit off of it. So that is what I was talking about there. I misunderstood talking about, yeah, and that's what it was. I was talking about Morocco. You got it. But yeah, that is what I was talking about there. So you guys can definitely go over and take a look there. If I was to send emails to my followers, how often? Oh, that's a great question. Hey, who am I asking here? I have a bracelet for them. If I was to send emails to my followers, how often and what do I put in the email? Well, we have done a million different versions of emails. I would say, hey, Vivian, how's it going, everybody? So make it make sense. Make it so that it makes sense. So if you don't have anything to say, you don't have to continue to push and have, you know, an email about nothing. So try and find a time frame that makes the most sense for you to have new information or interesting thoughts or comments to put into that email. We do weekly emails here currently. Did we do that always? No, we just started again because it's a lot of work. I get it, it's a lot of work. And we have, you know, a larger staff, and we still have, you know, not enough time to do anything in the day. Casey's not there, but I'm poking at him. So emails for us, we do once a week. We used to do them every month. Because again, timing was just the hardest thing. That email was more of like a newsletter thing. So talking about like what happened that month, what we'll have next month for sale, new products that we're now carrying, stuff like that. Now what we have is our weekly weekly emails, so that we can talk about all of our live shows, because we do live shows weekly, so it just makes sense for us. So I would say monthly to start off with, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, that's it? Start off with monthly, because it's harder than you think to keep up with it. So start off monthly, see if you can do it for 3 months in a row. I challenge you. And then after that, you can get into bi-weekly. But I wouldn't even do more than that, to be honest, unless you really have a lot of things to say all the time that are new, fresh things. You're not trying to exhaust people with telling them the same information. Like, I'm going to a show, I'm going to a show, I'm going to the show, I'm going to the show. And if it's all talking about the same show, it's just exhausting. People don't want to see that over and over and over again. It's too much information. I hate all of the emails like from clothing stores and stuff, and they give you an email literally every single day. That is absolute overkill. So I don't like that option as well. So I would say about a month at this point would be great. What would you put in that email? Here's some new items that I made. So here's some new bracelets. Here's some new listings on my website. Here's something cool about Gemstones for this month. Here's something cool that I did this month. Here's something cool about my business that happened this month. So you can talk about some different things that have to do with your jewelry or your business, whatever it is. So your jewelry, your paintings, your crystals. Show some cool stuff, because emails are visual, so you have to put pictures in there. If not, don't do it. Put some pictures in there, and maybe write down, again, this goes back to exhausting all of your options on your piece of paper and writing things down. write down all of the cool snippet points that you could put into a really cool email blast or newsletter. If you're thinking of it as a newsletter, thinking of it as a monthly newsletter, that's kind of a cool, better mindset to be in, I think, because then you can start thinking about things on a monthly basis. Like, oh, this month I'm going to these shows. This month I have these new pieces up for sale. This month I have this sale going. This month I have this going, whatever. So I feel like trying to do emails monthly, and then you can always throw in an extra email during the month if you have something, very important to talk about. Like, okay guys, it's my big show. I will be there in 5 days. Here's the show. Here's the time again, just as a reminder. That's totally fine. Just, I would say every single week, if you're talking about the exact same show, that's just too much. Also, if you have something new that came in, whoa guys, I just got this cool new lapis bracelet collection in, I just made it. Yeah, you could definitely have that out for an email as well. But I would say consistency is key. And I'm laughing at myself saying this because, again, we're just getting back into doing emails consistently again. Consistency is key. So see if you can get it down to one really juicy, good email per month where you have different, collections of information that you have. And then do more if you can do more. But once a month is fantastic. I love the weekly emails you guys have. That's awesome, Cats and Crystals. And yeah, that's Casey that's doing all of those weekly emails. And it's also because this is actually great. So if you guys have your Instagram or your Facebook or whatever, some kind of social media outlet, and you have all of your items, you have photos and stuff that you've already made, use the same pictures in your email. Don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to do new stuff. So take all of those images that you have, all the information that you've been giving people, and compile it into one email, because then people can reread things, they can look through things leisurely, and that would be what that would be for. So far I bought all my crystals at retail price and just starting to find wholesale. Do I price the things I bought at retail? Just add tax and shipping to cover my costs. Cats and Crystals, send me a DM and then I can take a look at a couple of things there. We do sell things at retail for the Gem Boutique, but I would say that we have things at a cheaper retail price. So yes, you can still mark things up. It just won't be as high as like 2.5 or 3 times because you're already starting off at just a little bit too high. But yes, you could still mark things up. So I can help you out with that. Maybe send me a couple of photos of some items and then we could maybe talk about that. I was confused about adding multiples of each item on Morocco. Be cool. Let me know if you need help with the website there, but you definitely can add more than one item. There's going to be some listings that you have a drop down, so you could choose how many items you want, or there's going to be other listings that would be for that specific sphere or that specific palm stone. Yeah. Imagining stuff, sourcing, importing. I think we went through that. Awesome. Da-na-na-na-na-na. And yeah, put information in your emails if you guys wanted to do email blasts. Put information in your emails that makes them want to read it. So give them something cool. So like talk about like the stone of the month, whether that is the birthstone of the month or just the stone that you want to choose to talk about that month. That doesn't matter. But just choose something where they're like, oh, I want to read about the stone of the month right now, and give them just like another little snippet, another little blurb about something. People do love 100% to learn and read about the artists and the people that are behind the work. So if you wanted to put a little snippet on about yourself every month, or how you got into it, or what you've been working on, what's inspiring you right then, that would be also a great thing to add as well. I messaged you after 3. Yeah, that sounds good. I think I got caught up there with all the messages. Let me know if you guys have anything else. Oh, do I need an incentive to get people to give me their email addresses? You don't need an incentive, but incentives are very, very helpful. I would say we started up an incentive, so if you guys have not checked out our email, here's my plug. If you guys haven't signed up for our email, go over to our website for the Gem Boutique, and you guys get 10% off of your order. That's including live sale items as well for your first order. Like it'll give you a coupon for that from your newsletter. So if you guys have not signed up for the newsletter yet, I would go do that right now. And I would say that it is very helpful to give something away. Make sure that it's something that you are willing to give away and that you're able to give away. So make sure that it is something that if you have 100 people use it all in that month or 2 months, can you afford to give that? So if you don't want to do a percentage for a newsletter, you can always say, like I have kyanite. I always love kyanite. I just think they're more interesting to look at. I think they're cool pieces. what we've done before is like, give me your email and I'll give you a piece of kyanite. So give me your email and I'll give you a tumbled stone when you purchase from me. So you don't have to give them something for free right then either. You don't have to give them something for free, period. But if you wanted to do that as more of an incentive, choose what incentive works for you. So if you go online, you'll see a lot of percentage discounts. That's fine, but that's not the only way to do things. So you don't have to do it that way. So if you're thinking, I'm not really comfortable with giving people 10 or 15% off of an entire order, that's a lot of money. You don't have to. So say, sign up to our newsletter and your first order, you get a free tumbled stone. The first order, you get a, $5 bracelet instead of a $15 bracelet, whatever it is. So find something that makes sense for you, so that you're comfortable with it, and then do that. So incentives are good. You don't need them, but they're very, very helpful. And just find something that makes sense for you and for them, so that they feel incentivized, but also that you're not feeling twitchy at the end of it, thinking, oh my gosh, I just gave away way too much for free, because I've done that numerous times. What price range should the giveaway item be? Oh, that's totally up to you. Totally up to you. So just think about, again, if you're doing something in a larger volume because you're trying to get a lot of newsletter people, so a lot of emails, you probably don't want to do something that's very expensive. So you don't have to either. So we did 15% off. So some of you guys might have had that before. And then we started to feel it. We went, oh, this is a little bit much, because you guys were awesome and starting to really sign up for the newsletter a lot. But we went, you know what, this is not going to be sustainable for us. So we brought it down to 10%. That's okay. It's okay. You're allowed to change your rules. They're your rules, nobody else's. And you're allowed to make it make sense for your business, and what makes sense for whatever you're selling. So I would say 10% if you wanted to do, something that they felt like they could see it at the checkout, but not so much that you're kind of feeling it at the end saying, oh my gosh, it's so much. Or again, some kind of smaller product that doesn't cost you a lot. So if that's a charm and it's a pair of charm earrings, because charms are really inexpensive, you can do that. If it's a charm just on a jump ring, you can do that. So think of what makes sense for your business and do that. But yeah, there doesn't have to be a certain dollar value amount. I would just say make it so that you're comfortable. Yeah, so if you gave away 50 or 100, is that too much? So that would be what I would ask myself. So I'm generous too, yeah. Oh, and speaking of that note too, I don't know why this irritates me, but keep in mind, guys, you do not have to give anybody freebies. You don't owe anybody freebies either. So I've seen that on a couple of TikTokers recently, where they give away like so many freebie products when you're buying a product from them. I've seen it with crystals and makeup and other things. That's cool, but I think that you don't have to do that. I don't know. I think it makes me as a consumer, maybe because I own a business, makes me think, you know what, just give me a discount. I don't want all these random freebie stuff. I have one supplier and they give me all this random crap, and I don't want that. I want a discount off of the products that I want to buy. I don't want all this freebie stuff. So that's one thing that I really don't like, and I think it's the perceived value. I think it kind of goes lower on the stock if you're just able to give all this stuff away for free. And yeah, you don't have to feel like you need to give anything away for free. So just kind of keep that in mind too, guys. It's kind of like small business culture, I feel like, where a lot of people feel like they have to give things away for free, and you don't have to feel like that. And I'm just trying to tell you from the other side, you don't have to feel like that. So you are trying to do this as a business. You have responsibilities. You have maybe responsibilities to your family. You have responsibilities to your kids. You are trying to make money from this. So don't feel like you have to give away freebies because that person did it. And again, I'm just kind of saying that from seeing certain things and thinking, wow, like if you're able to give that many things away for free to me, then you should just be able to lower the price for me. That's what I think of when I see that. I don't know how you guys feel about freebies, if you guys think that too, but I would just prefer a discount off my product than giving me a million free things. So I have to get back to work. Lunch is over. Thanks, Cats and Crystals. Have a great day. Hopefully you guys had fun. Yeah, it's 1:00 right now. We have half an hour. What do you guys want to talk about? We got so many things we could talk about. So again, we were talking about before, I will write all this stuff down on our blog, and we'll link our blog back up to the website, so you guys can definitely take a look at all this information. Again, I had all of my information from last week to look at. I'm just rolling my eyes at that $700 consignment necklace. Do you guys want me to talk to you about like random stories? Do you guys want some story times? I could think about story times. We could talk about that. We can talk about shows again. We can talk about pricing. What do you guys want to talk about? Let me know if you guys have anything that is on the top of your mind. One thing I would say about businesses in general and starting a small business is things go slower than you think they do. And that's another thing that social media has, again, kind of skewed for people, is that people think that everything happens in 5 minutes and you're going to be a millionaire in 5 minutes. And that's not it at all. So just keep that in mind, guys. If you feel like you've been doing this for 2 months or 6 months, oh man, friends, suck it up. That's not a lot of time. If you're in this for 1 year to 3 years and you're still struggling, you're doing great. Don't worry. That's totally fine. If you've been in this for 5 years and you're still thinking, oh my gosh, what am I doing? That's still great. You're still doing fine. I would say if you're under the 1 year mark, it definitely irks me a little bit when people are telling me that they're not making any money yet. I'm going to go with yes, 100% you're not going to make money yet. If you did, fantastic. But if you didn't, that's so totally normal. That's okay. But when you're starting to get into the years and years of doing this, start in your notebook, writing down why. What are the things that you need to be doing more aggressively? Go onto YouTube, go and take a look at some things. Start looking at your profit margin. I know all the boring stuff like numbers, but start seeing why you're not making enough money. Are you not putting enough energy into it, or are you not having enough profit margin? You're buying too much stuff and you're not making enough money up here. Is the gap not big enough? Or are you spending too much money to begin with? What are you doing? So kind of think about stuff like that. Story time. Let's think about some story times. How saturated do you think the market is for gemstones, crystals, beaded jewelry? Amperox, just as saturated as everything else. So that's what I would say about that. I would say don't worry too much about it because everything is saturated. What just happened the other day? Was it, I don't know, was it last week? I don't know. I saw it on the internet, so it happened at some point. We have now reached the 8 billion people point. There's 8 billion people on the planet. Do not worry about saturation. Everything is saturated. And I mean that with every bone in my body. Everything is saturated. So find ways that maybe you'll stand out. Find things that will make you more unique. But there is so much in every industry. So don't think too hard about if it's too saturated. If you love what you're doing and you're passionate about what you're doing and you want to put the energy and the time and the moolah into it, that's good. So don't worry about saturation. That's what I'm saying about that. Love your personality. Thanks for sharing your amazing tips. Thank you very much. You're awesome. You guys are awesome. Some kind of income stream. It's not urgent, but I need some kind of income stream, and I really like all things rocks. Yes, exactly. So it just depends on how urgent you want to do things. If you want to just do Christmas shows and you make a couple $1,000s at the end of Christmas, which is like two months, you spend the whole year making all your stuff and getting ready for it, that's okay. You can run your business like that. If you want to make money all year long, you can do that too. So there's so many different ways that you can run a business. Also, some people make their money just in summer. So it just totally depends on what your season is. How to organize beads. Oh my gosh. So you're going to go to Crappy Tire, also known as Canadian Tire, and you're going to get one of those nail drawer system things. And it sits on the table. Oh, and they look like this, but they're just smaller. But they're like this size, and it takes up, like this much square, you can't tell. It takes up like a small square footage on your table, and then it goes up in height, and there's like ones that have 34 drawers or 24 drawers or whatever. Those are fantastic. I've used those since my professional days of making jewelry, and what's great about that is I can just pull the 2 drawers out and then put them in front of me. So blue and purple, great. Green and yellow, great. And then that's how I would organize my beads. So I would say that would be a good option. I am not a huge fan of those clicky containers because, oh God, they're just a pain in the ass. You have to pick one up and then you got to put the other one down and you have to find the beads in this one, and then they're just hard to get into. So I would say go over to your local hardware store and look at their different nail organizing units and stuff like that. I feel like they're actually really, really good. They've always been super helpful for me. And I feel like it's just, it takes up so much less space on your desk as well. So I'll have to find a photo of one of my old desks when I used to work for a jewelry designer in a penthouse in Toronto. Other stories. And I just had like 5 of them all on the back of my table. I also had a wooden desk that was her grandfather's desk. It was like €100. It was solid wood. And we had taken felt and actually stapled it to the actual desk. And I worked off of that because then things wouldn't roll away and stuff. So that would be what I would say for, that would be the best that I've used. And it works out really, really well. What other fun stories should I tell you guys? I have no idea. I got so many weird stories. The one time that really annoyed me. How come those are the ones I can think of? So I used to sell jewelry to... Okay, so I used to make jewelry for a jewelry designer in Toronto. We met here in Kitchener. I worked for her in Kitchener. Things took off and we moved to Toronto. Toronto is very expensive for owning a house, so she was able to sell her sell her house, I guess, that was here. She had a good chunk of cash in her pocket, and we decided to move to Toronto. To get a artist studio and a house in Toronto was just so much money. So again, my very, very fantastically eccentric, super creative boss that I had named Sugar, her name was Gay, but Gay, a lot of people didn't really understand that as a name, didn't translate well, so we called her Sugar. So Sugar was decided that, you know what, let's just find something that is all-encompassing. So she found a penthouse, and it was fan-fucking-tastic. So perfect. I'll have to show you guys photos because it was the most creative place that you could ever work out of. 2-story, white marble. We had a bat cave, so we had 2.5-story windows. It was fantastic. I loved it. So many parties there, so many things, and it was fantastic. But we had turned the closet, the walk-in closet that you walk in the foyer with your closet, and we turned that into a whole jewelry booth. It was so, so cool. I'll have to show you guys pictures. Yeah, so we only had people that came over that knew about us. We only had people that came over at parties or events that we were hosting. And there were these 2 girls that came over the one day and just, I don't know, shopping. I don't even know how they found out about us. But they had broke a labradorite piece. And that was the only time I ever lost my cool there. And they left. They didn't even buy anything. They didn't offer to buy anything. They just smashed it on the floor and they walked out. And it was the only time that I actually totally lost my cool. And I walked out and I looked over at them because they were waiting at the elevators, and I yelled down to them. I was like, that was really rude. I don't know what I even said. Something about that was really rude and you guys should have paid for that or something or other. Yeah. That was really it there. There was more story to it, I thought, but there wasn't. What I loved about that place was that we had every part of that was art. And I would love to redo that again. And it was just so awesome because we just had turned everything into art. So I'll have to show you guys photos. What stories do I have? I don't know. Embarrassing stories? So live TV I hate, even though I'm live right now. But back in the day, we were talking about advertising, right? So my boss used to do a lot of things for Rogers TV and stuff like that. We used to put a lot of things on the hosts that are watching. And the one time we had went on and I just I don't know, it was just so embarrassing. I made such a fool of myself. And the host was just saying, okay, so you're a Kitchener connection, because I was still living in Kitchener. We'd moved to Toronto. And I just went, yes, I am. And it was just the weirdest thing because I don't do that. And I just remember after that live take on Rogers, I was like, I will not do another live video for the rest of my life. It was awful. So now when I do live things, I do it under a controlled setting where it's for my shows and I do my own thing. But yeah, I found that was the hardest. I've done a few things for to advertise for other businesses and stuff. And I always found that their lives that they were doing, I just didn't like how they did it. So I do my own stuff now. So that's my only random thing. I'm trying to think off the top of my head what other cool stories I have to tell you guys. I don't remember. I can't think of anything good. What else can I think of? Jordan Sparks. Does anybody know Jordan Sparks? We ran into her grandma 4 days when we had moved to Toronto. That was really cool. We made her jewelry, got to meet her. That was really cool. I'm trying to think what other cool stories. I feel like I've told you guys a lot of the stories. There's a lot of fashion stuff that I should show you guys pictures of. I think my favorite one will just be that I had made jewelry for the friend of today's bride, and it happened to be earrings that I had designed myself, and my boss was really upset by that, and I still have the magazine from that, and it was really, really cool. So I'll have to show you guys that. I'll have to write down some more stories because I can't think of anything right now. Somebody say something so I can get something back in my head here. I'm trying to think of something off the top of my head and I can't. We did some photo shoots with Rebecca Hardy. She lives back in the area here now. She was Canada's top model, the first round winner of that show, and that was really cool. We have some really, really cool photos with her. A lot of the times though, I wasn't part of any of these shows or any of these photo shoots. So if you guys want to have your jewelry and stuff for photo shoots, you definitely can. You want to find stylists. So a stylist is somebody who goes around, grabs all the stuff. They're the ones that have usually the vision between them and the photographer, and then they'll go around and grab everything from different artists and then put it together and do all the photography and stuff. So yeah, a lot of these things that happened, I don't even have photos of, which I think is the most frustrating. Adam Lambert, we had made jewelry for the MTV Music Awards for his band. And then he had wanted a necklace at the end. It was very nice. It was very big, dramatic, super, super sparkly necklace. And the only thing that we ask is a photo, and they did not give us a photo back. So it's so annoying because I have so many cool things that I could tell you guys about, and I have no photo proof of any of them. Love to see pictures. Yeah, I think I'll have to print off some more pictures again, guys, because then it just helps me kind of remember different stories. And then obviously give you guys something to look at too, because I don't have those things at the moment. So what else do I want to think about? Bridal jewelry. We used to make really good bridal jewelry. I would say that probably our best collections were bridal stuff. So when I used to work for a designer, I made a lot of vintage products, a lot of jewelry out of vintage products, I should say. So I just had so much more interesting, unique pieces to work with. I feel like nowadays, the designs that everybody are going for are very simple and plain. And yeah, I would say it's definitely different than when I was doing stuff. I was back in the chunky jewelry stage of things. And I know that it's not like statement jewelry and statement necklaces. That's back when I was making stuff there. And I had some really cool stuff. And it's just not as popular anymore. It's definitely more about like simpler, smaller things. How could they not give you a photo? It's so unfair. Happened so much. So much. We had given jewelry to Lady Gaga before. We didn't get a photo. We'd given jewelry to so many people before. We just never got any photos from it. So it's annoying. Hello to everybody else that's tuning in here. I'm trying to think what else we can talk about for the next couple of minutes. Do we have anybody else that has more business questions for me? What else did I talk about? We were talking about before picking out the right shows. Table displays, if anybody has any table displays questions. We're talking about, again, first impressions, because I know I keep bashing packaging, and what I mean again is that put your money into the first impressions before putting it into the after sale stuff. So make your displays look really beautiful, work on getting beautiful tablecloths and whatever bins or displays that you want to use. Get beautiful signage made for yourself. Make that part of your booth stand out, and then focus on your branding and putting logos and all that stuff later. You don't have to do it right away. Fancy sunlight, basement dwelling. You know what, Belladonna, I have always done all of my polymer clay work, and all of my jewelry has always been in the basement. I actually started off working in what we call our cubby hole, so right under the basement stairs. That's how my whole life started, was working on polymer clay stuff in that little cubby hole. My dad actually had taken a chair and cut off the bottom of it so I could sit on a half chair, and that's how I actually started off pretty much everything. Was starting off in a small little dwelling as a little gremlin. So I totally appreciate that. Necklace on stands or packages. Oh yeah, necklace on stands is better. People are not visual. Even visual people aren't visual. Artists are not visual. That sounds very strange, but it's very, very true. So make everything as easy for people as possible. Yes, definitely have things out on displays, I would definitely say that's a great idea. We should talk about show etiquette. I feel like that's something we should talk about at some point. I'll have to like do a video for that. But have you ever been to a show and you just can't feel, you just don't know what you should be doing? When there's somebody that comes over to your booth, do you say hi? Do you not say hi? Do you make eye contact? Do you not stare at them? Let me know if you guys want me to talk about that, because I feel like I have it down to a science. I've done this for a few years. So I feel like I've sorted out a couple of ways to make it better. Because people, when they're going to shows, they want to look around at things. They're most likely there to buy something, but they don't want to feel bombarded with everybody staring at them and saying, hey, how are you? So I feel like there's some kind of balance. And then the other opposite side of that is I've seen before, I don't know why this one will always stick in my head, but there was somebody that had a booth, like a couple booths down from ours, and she set up all of her wreaths, and then she opened her book and went like this and put it up to her face. And you couldn't even see her face for the whole show. She's there to sell things. She bought a booth just like everybody else, and she literally sat there and read her book. I don't know why. That was always baffling to me. So best ways for displaying bracelets. There are so many ways. You can definitely get like those T-bar stands and have things hanging across those. You can also put them in nice little bins or trays or something like that. All I would say is if you're getting into doing bins and trays, simple. So not like super patterned, not a lot going on with them. Keep it simple, because again, your eyeballs get overwhelmed at these shows. There's so much to look at. So keeping everything just really easy on the eyes and neutral as much as possible is definitely helpful. So what I would do if I was at a show and I have people that come to my booth, I kind of give it a second. So I don't really say like, hey, how are ya? Right when they come up to the booth. I feel like, again, they're bombarded and you're, a 6 foot table away from the next person. And it's just very exhausting as a customer to say hi good when they're just trying to walk past your booth. I would usually try and make myself look remotely busy. So what I mean is I would try and make, I'd either write something down in my book, or I would be cutting out labels or something, or I'd be like maybe stringing something together. I would say if you are somebody that makes jewelry, I'm an introvert. Yeah, eye contact seems alarming. Yes, it is. Hey, you don't want to be one of those people. And yeah, you don't want to be ignored but not pressured. I know, it's such a balance. So one thing that I have found is being very passive. So if you do make stuff, so if you're somebody that's on here and is a maker, which is most likely everybody that's here, have just a little spot open like this big. As big as this piece of paper. Open that you can make something. So if you're a chain mailer, then just do something simple. So just make a Byzantine where you just have one size of ring that you're using. If you're making a bracelet, then just choose 2 beads that you're using. Don't do anything too advanced so that you have crap everywhere, but just have, painting might be hard too, so that might not be the best one, but try and find something where people can talk to you or you can show them what you're doing. It starts off a conversation without you having to be like, you want to buy something, friend? So show them what you're doing and just, string a bracelet. Hey, how are ya? And then my other favorite thing is compliment people. Don't lie. So if you don't like anything they're wearing, don't say anything. But if you do like something that they're wearing, you like their hair, you like their glasses, just give them a little compliment. Don't do anything after that, because again, we're trying to it's like a scared cat. So you're trying to just coax them into your booth. You'll also tell that, again, use this wisely. So if you, because also you'll exhaust yourself too, because shows can be super, super mentally exhausting after doing a show for the whole way. I love your sweater. Thank you very much. I hate this part because it always stretches out. So thank you. I like the sparkles across it, but this doesn't look like me. Thank you. Sorry, massive truck in our front. They shouldn't be here. So I would try and do things where, again, try and think of a scared kitty cat. You also might be the scared kitty cat if you're the introvert, but just try and do things a little bit more passively. So, make your bracelet, cut out your labels, write down whatever you're writing down, draw a little smiley face. Hey, how are ya? Oh, I love your earrings. Those are so pretty. Oh, you like cats too? Yeah, I love cats. Oh my gosh, cats are so great. I have a black cat. What kind of cat do you have? That's really cool. I don't have a cat, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But that's cool. That's awesome. I like cats. Do you like pizza? Me too. Do you want to look at my bracelet? So you can start the conversation as just being something more passive, and then they're going to feel like they can start looking at things or picking up something and looking at it. And then you can just say, oh my gosh, that's one of my favorite ones. And again, don't lie. So think of whatever makes sense for the situation. But just think like, oh, I love that one. That's really cute. Or can I help you find anything today? Or are you just like chilling? And just keep it really much more passive, because then the customer is going to be able to feel like you're not trying to aggressively hound them for money. So ask them if they need help with anything. You don't have to ask right away, but like then you can start opening up communication. So they might say, what do you make in there? You can say, oh, I'm just working on some bracelets. Yeah, I made all of these over here. They're really great. They're all stretchy string too, so like it's really easy for you to wear. And just totally dumb down your words. Don't sit there and try and give them a spiel. They heard it already. They've been to 15 booths already. So just try to make things more passive. If they want to talk more, you can tell right away, because they're going to ask more questions. They're going to start talking more. More words will come out of their mouth. If not, then just say less. And then you'll start to gauge the person. A lot of this is also being able to learn body language and how the person's going to react. You'll also see, again, if you have grandma that's walking by with her granddaughter and she's just, holding the granddaughter's shoulder and saying, come on, let's go. That's not the person that you're going to be striking a conversation with. They're already done. They're not interested. If you find that there is, and again, this is all, I'm going to putting everybody into to categories here, but sometimes you have to for sales, so sorry. But if you have like a gentleman that walks over to your booth and he's looking at the bracelets and they're all girly bracelets, and you're just looking, you're going, okay, he looks like he's on a mission. He looks like he's probably here, again, looking for his wife or his partner or something. So then that's when you can totally be more blunt to be like, hey, do you need help with anything? I also find, again, to generalize, don't catch me for this, guys, I'm just generalizing. But to generalize, I do find that a lot of men customers will be a lot more to the point. I have noticed this over the years, again, to generalize. I've had some really opposites, but to generalize. And you'll find that you can kind of gauge what they want, and they might be like ready to just get their thing and go, or somebody wants to have more of a conversation. So I would say try and gauge what people want to do. And then also the flip side of that is don't spend all your damn time talking to one person. Also, as the customer, don't be that person. I have seen that from other artists before, which I find so baffling. Don't sit there and talk to a vendor when they're trying to make money. So if you're trying to make money and you're over there chatting because you both make bracelets, not the time. Go talk to them when they're free, when there's not customers at their booth, or talk and try and, talk something up so they can sell a product or whatever. But yeah, try and keep it so that you are there to sell products. So if somebody's sitting there talking about their cat and you're talking about your cat and you're having a cat conversation for 25 minutes, it's not going to make any money. So if you're so off on a tangent that you're not, that it should just be an intro conversation. And if it lasts more than 2 or 3 minutes, then you need to cut the conversation, because it's not going to do you any good at that point. They're probably just there because they just want to chat. So keep that in mind too. Should you make little sheets to say what gems are on the bracelets? The more is more, Tic Tac Nanny. So if you want to have more information about your bracelets, that will always benefit you. You do not have to, but you definitely, the more you do, the more it's going to come back for you. I would say I have found that it is very exhausting sometimes to make individual sheets for every single bracelet. So what you could do is you could also have a cheat sheet on the side of your table that says rose quartz, howlite, black tourmaline, blah, 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 blah. And then you can always say to people, oh, which bracelet do you like? Oh, that's the lapis. Oh, let's see what it means. Oh, let's look at our sheet over here. Okay, so lapis stands for this. Oh, what's the other one? Oh, black tourmaline. Ooh, oh, that one is for this one. So you can start, it'll give you more of a conversation as well. So if you have information about each bracelet, you totally could do that. But what you could do is even just have on the tag of the bracelet, like what the 3 main stones are, something like that. And then you can have the information off on another sheet. You don't have to do all of that work for every single bracelet. You can if you want to, and if you want to put that much energy into it, you can. But you can always do something on the side. And then your customers, because we all live in iPhone land, they can just take screenshots, and they can always take a screenshot of each little blurb there of the different stones, and they can write something else up if they want to, or they have the information there. So yeah, you can write down a whole card's worth if you want to about all of your pieces, but you will find that after a while, it's very mentally exhausting and a lot of time to try and do that for so many different bracelets or necklaces. So yeah, that's what I would say about that. So hopefully that helps, guys. If you guys want to talk more about shows, I'll have to write this down for consignment and shows. I feel like those are our two main things that we're talking about a lot right now, and maybe we'll do like a whole show just about shows and how to do certain things at shows, and about like consignment and stuff like that. So let me know if you guys like those ideas, because I think that would be good. And at 1:30, which is in 5 minutes, we're gonna flip over with Stephanie, and then you guys can go shopping. I cannot tell you, this week for all of our features are probably the best features that we've had in a long time. Like, just everything is A+. So we have our moonstone features out today, I think so. We have our moonstone feature, the best quality peach moonstone I have seen in a long time. We also finally got in our pink amethyst towers. That's on another feature this week with flower agate. We got flower agate with green in it. Oh my God, so gorgeous. And palm stones and hearts. We have our Black Friday on Thursday sale. So you guys, there's so many good things to shop with this week. If you guys are interested in buying some crystals, oh my goodness, we got some good stuff for you guys this week. Oh, we also have worry stones. We've got a worry stone show on Tuesday. We have all of our cute little polar bears and so many different gemstones. I know you guys love those, so we've got them in so many different styles. So yeah, that's what I'd say about that. What else do I want to say about shows? Yeah, I would say look like you're invested and like you're trying to be there for your show, but not so invested that you run at the customer. So back to that shoe store that I had talked about before that we had a really good relationship with. We'd sold a lot of product. That store owner was aggressive. And what I mean is, when a customer would come through the door, it would like make a little ding noise. She would run at them. Like, I'm not kidding. She would just like, hi, what can I help you with? What can I get you today? And just like totally in their face. And it was every single time that I was in her store, and I was like, my goodness. It seemed to work for her. Her sales were doing well, and actually she's still in business, and it's, been quite a while. So that's great. But yeah, I always felt that she was very, very aggressive. Not how I would like to shop. So yeah, try and think about like how you would shop as a shopper yourself, and what kind of experience you would like to have, and then that's what you can definitely relay on to your customers when you're at shows. So yeah, we'll try and write down more stuff. We'll throw things up on blogs, and if you guys have anything else or more comments or ideas, maybe we'll post up like a poll this week, and then you guys can maybe like write down a couple more comments of what you guys want to hear about, and then we can do that. And then if we want to just do a whole story time show so that we can all laugh at me, that would be great too. And I'll have to just grab some more photos, and I'll print some more stuff off, and then that'll be more fun for that. So look forward to next time. That's awesome. John of the East Village, you're awesome. Thanks guys for tuning in. Does anybody else have any last minute questions that we want to go over? And if not, I think I'm going to flip this over to Stephanie soon, but let me know, guys. And then again, last thing again, Wholesale. Guys, we have our wholesale collection going. We will post that again. Maybe we'll put that up on stories again today, Mr. Casey, and post up about Morocco, about our Instagram and our website. You guys can take a look. You guys can go shopping right now. It's a $200 minimum for anybody that is a wholesale shopper. And we have so many gorgeous things that you guys can go and shop. And we will start doing live sales with our new sales rep, Brittany, this week. So we'll have that sorted out later on this week, and that'll be great. So I'm really excited that you guys get to hang out and that you guys get to see your wholesale collection. And then next week, I'm hoping I'm going to move all this chaos into my office, and I'm going to start having maybe a better setup, because I just keep taking over all the spaces everywhere. So we're trying to condense me because I'm chaos. So we're going to put me in my office and keep me there. I think that's the plan. So awesome. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Have a great day. Go hang out with Stephanie. She's got some killer moonstone items. Peach moonstone. We got white moonstone. We got green moonstone. We got black moonstone. All the moonstones. Have a great day, guys. Have a great week shopping. We got killer stuff. I'm super excited. And talk to you guys later. Bye.